Hey everybody, it's Blair with the Badass Records podcast, welcoming you in for an episode after a couple of weeks off, which is because I need people. So if you are a fan of the show or have been on an episode before, I need folks, so send them my way. You can hit me up with a DM on Instagram or at Badass Records Podcast at gmail.com. For this week, I am thrilled to welcome back the one and only Sammy Sanchez as we tackle another discography episode. You can find Sammy on Instagram. He is at Sammy Sanchez 123, and he is the trivia host with the most here in Kansas City. Find him doing his thing Sunday at Arrow Dart Club at 1817 Locust. Monday, he's at Dodson's Waldo Bar at 7438 Warnell. Tuesday is Third Place Lounge at 1744 Broadway. On Wednesdays, he's at Minibar, 3810 Broadway. And Thursday, as he puts it, the OG trivia spot, Lifted Spirits at 1734 Cherry. Most weeks, I'm dropping episodes on Thursdays here on the program. You can stream it on your platform of choice, view it on YouTube, or consume it on the website, which is badassrecordspodcast.com. The Instagram handle is at badassrecordspodcast. Hope you're well. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. A little green. I haven't done one in a few weeks, but welcome back, Sammy Sanchez. I think this will be episode 213, Badass Records Podcast.
My birthday. That's perfect.
What?
February 13th.
Nice. Yeah. Very nice. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, this list gets a little longer every time you come back. Episode 44. Tom Waits, Pink Floyd, LCD Sound System. 66, we did Tom Waits' Discography. 88, we did the Beck Discography. 113, Radiohead.
Yeah. 100 episodes ago. Look at that,
yeah. 187, King Gizzard and the Wizard Lizard.
That was a big one, yeah.
The buddy that told me about Gorillas is my college roommate who listens to all these, and he was... maybe I mentioned it when we were talking, but he was trying to get me into the Giz, and I was like, it's got to happen organically, especially with this daunting ass
monster of a discography.
So when it aired, I gave it a day or so, and then said, "Did you listen?" He's like, "I actually just listened today." And I was like, "What'd you think?" He's like, "Dude knows his shit." I was like, "Yeah, that's why he keeps coming back." I think that makes this your 6th appearance. Thank you for being my discography expert.
Hell yeah.
It's always good to see you and fun to chat. Episode 187 was 9 months ago. Bring me up to speed. I know we were just sort of catching up, but bring me up to speed on what's been happening in Sammy Sanchez's world since September and King Gizzard.
September, that's crazy.
Yeah, right? Almost a year.
I know, right? I'm just doing like my own thing right now. I'm hosting trivia full time. I'm doing that 5 nights a week at different bars around the city.
Yeah, you got Sammy Sanchez 1123 on Instagram.
Yeah, Sammy Sanchez 1123. That's me on Instagram. Find me. I have on my Instagram bio, I have all the places I'm doing currently. And then besides that, I still pick up bartending shifts here and there, just private events and corporate events and whatnot. Just it's nice being able to set my own schedule and not having to, I'm my own boss. I don't have to answer to anybody.
When we were messaging to set this up, and we landed on this date, and you were like, "Works for me," and I was like, "How about late-ish in the day?" And you're like, "Should be fine." I'm like, "Does this motherfucker manage a bar? He's got Saturday off."
Last time, imagine if I was still managing a bar, especially with the World Cup going on right now.
Yeah.
I went to the Crossroads yesterday just to hang out with some friends, and I've never seen the Crossroads that busy.
Wait, so is it somebody in my high school buddies group thing just sent a tweet of the U.S. scoring a goal.
That was just a friendly. The official, like, next Thursday is the first actual match of the World Cup. But the fans and stuff are already here. Like, they're starting to arrive.
I went to, just a couple hours ago, a high school graduation party, and it was over Row and Somerset. So I'm on Somerset winding through and just like every other sign and every other house has a sign in the yard saying "Good luck, England." I'm like, what the fuck is? I don't even remember which teams are coming, but is England one of them?
Here, England, Netherlands, and Argentina are based here in Kansas City. So those are the three that we're getting the biggest influx of fans for. I saw so many Argentinians yesterday just walking around the crossroads.
Really?
It was crazy, yeah.
So I wonder if, somebody must have gone door to door in that particular neighborhood
and just giving them the signs.
Or we have them. Do you? I mean, these are like real estate things, or I guess whatever. But I wonder.
England's a favorite, so they're getting all the support they can get. Yeah.
They're a favorite of the four that are.
No, they're favorites, not the favorite to win the tournament, but they're like in the top 4 or 5.
Really?
Favorites to win it all, yeah.
Okay. I wonder though if in that particular neighborhood, if that's what's driving that, or if there are players or people staying in that area, or if a bunch of those people rented out their homes.
I know Argentina is staying over on the KCK side.
That information is public?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know the hotel they're staying at. You know the days they're practicing. You know they published it all.
That seems.
And the fans are coming out in full force.
That seems a little.
Dude, it's the World Cup, man. It's chaos.
Yeah.
This is some people like this is their entire life. Like they've been waiting literally decades to be able to go see a game, to be able to like support their national country, their national team. And for them, you know, this isn't just like I was talking to a few people the other day, like, what's the big deal? No, it's not like the Super Bowl or whatever. It's like this makes the Super Bowl look like a fucking preseason game. Like it has nothing on this.
A really hot one that nobody goes to.
Exactly,
because it doesn't count.
But yeah, no, it's going to be this next month. And this is the first World Cup with like the expanded format. Normally it's been 32 teams. This time it's the first time with 48 teams playing in the World Cup. So it's going to be the biggest World Cup to date. And the fact that it's happening, you know, here now, it's going to be a crazy time.
I mean, is that just to grow the game, the expansion piece?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it just kind of waters down because the teams that make it in, like those extra 16 teams that weren't making it in before, it's teams like Haiti and Scotland and Curacao. It's gonna be rough. But at the same time, you know, if they do manage to win a game, it's gonna be, you know, the entire country is going to be blowing up.
Yeah.
Like if I think Haiti and Scotland are playing, and one of those teams has to win, and whichever team wins, you know, you just won a game at the World Cup, and that's massive.
Yeah. Wow.
So
I can't remember. Are you a big soccer fan?
Historically, I follow the World Cup pretty heavily. I follow international competition more than I follow like club level sports, but I do follow international competition pretty heavily. And I've always been a really big Argentina fan, so I'm really excited. I've always, like, Lionel Messi was my guy growing up. I've always been a big Messi fanboy, so it's going to be very exciting. This is going to be his last World Cup, so...
I've always been a big Messi fanboy.
Yeah, big Messi. That's me, man.
Outside of soccer.
I'm a Messi fanboy. But, you know, it's going to be a big World Cup. He's going to retire after this. Cristiano Ronaldo's going to retire after this. Yeah.
Wow,
legends. I mean, they're already kind of pushing it in age. There's no way they're going to make it another 4 years and still be playing. And even right now, like Ronaldo is probably going to be more like a sub, like a bench player coming on. And Messi will still be starting because it's fucking Messi. But he's also kind of getting up there in age. He's not able to, you know, move around the field as fluidly as he once could. So it's going to be interesting seeing like this new generation coming up. Like Erling Haaland from Iceland and Lamine Yamal from Spain, and you know these like really young, talented players. At the same time that you're getting the last hurrah of Lionel Messi and Ronaldo and like Luka Modric from Croatia and all these like legends. So I'm excited. I mean, besides all the other bullcrap that FIFA is involved with. I hate FIFA as an organization, obviously, but
What's that, like political shit?
oh yeah, they're the most corrupt. There's no bigger example of sports corruption in the world than FIFA.
I mean, they've had that reputation.
That's been around for decades.
And it just keeps...
The chairman of FIFA just keeps getting worse and worse. Like, when I was growing up, it was Sepp Blatter who was the chairman of FIFA, and it was like, okay, this is the most corrupt person in the world. And then when he got removed, they replaced him with Gianni Infantino, who makes Sepp Blatter look like a fucking angel. Like, I'd kill to have him back as the head of FIFA. Because Infantino is like always just sucking up to our president, and like they made up that bullshit FIFA Peace Prize, and he was the inaugural recipient for his contributions to global. Like, anyway, that's I could talk about that forever. But long story short, given the political landscape and just like the expanded format and everything, this is gonna be the most controversial and the most, just watched, I'd assume, World Cup ever, just because of everything surrounding it. On top of, like I just mentioned, the players and the teams and all that stuff. Just there's so many storylines, so many conflicting factors going into it. It's gonna be chaos. Wow. The World Cup's already chaos. This one's just gonna make all the others look like a day at the park.
Argentina's in KCK, and the others are where?
I'm not exactly sure where England and Netherlands are based out of, but they're also in the metro area. And like, not all their games are going to be played here, but here's where they're headquartered. Like, they'll play a game here, they'll play a game in Boston, they'll play a game in LA, they'll play a game because the U.S. has 10, I believe, host cities, or 11. The U.S. has 11, Canada has 3, and then Mexico has 2, I believe. So there are 16 host cities total, and then you're playing games all over the place. If you're based here in Kansas City, you'll go play your game in Boston, then you'll come back here for a few days. And you'll go play your game in Seattle, then you'll come back here for a few days. So, yeah, wow. It's going to be intense.
So many moving parts.
Exactly, yeah.
So, again, at Sammy Sanchez 1123 on Instagram, in the bio is the trivia schedule. Hit me, if you don't mind, with that schedule, the spots and the days of the week that you're there.
Yeah, it's Sundays at Arrow Dart Club in the Crossroads. Mondays at Dodson's here in Waldo.
Yeah, Cosmo
Dodson's
Burger.
Exactly. Fucking love that burger.
Yeah.
One of the best burgers in town. Tuesdays at Third Place Lounge over on 17th and Broadway downtown. Wednesdays at Minibar over by Westport. And then Thursdays is the OG spot at Lifted Spirits.
Yeah,
over at Crossroads.
I'm familiar with 3 of the 5. The Sunday spot, Arrow Dart.
Mm-hmm. Arrow Dart Club.
I don't know anything about
this place. Cosmo Burger, that's in Dodson's. They opened a different location in the Crossroads. Just like a hole, like a brick and mortar place.
It's already open?
Oh, yeah, it opened last year. Oh, and then connected to it is Arrow Dart Club, same ownership, same kitchen. It's a dart bar that also has like a little wine bar, like a basement wine bar called Sunken Cork. That's pretty cool. But it's really clean. They got great food, great drinks. House trivia there every Sunday, 5 o'clock. And yeah, it's a really cool spot. I'm really happy with it. And then really all my trivia spots, I'm happy with the crowds we got going and the turnout. And yeah.
And then the Tuesday spot?
Third Place Lounge. They also opened relatively recently, I think last year, maybe the year before that. A friend of mine, Amanda, she owns it. And
nice.
It's got they specialize in, it's a cocktail bar. They also have low alcohol and non-alcoholic options is what kind of their thing. Really cool spot. They have like just the seating arrangements in there. It's like they got all sorts of weird chairs and like there's swings that you can sit on, and you can order food, bring it in. They have karaoke nights. They have all sorts of cool stuff. And yeah, that's been a fun one. That's the most recent trivia I started up. That started up last month, I believe.
Cool.
And the first weeks were a little choppy, not too many people showing up, but the last like 3 or 4 weeks, it's been a good, consistent turnout.
Cool.
So happy with that one.
Do you think that having it displayed the way it is just inside your personal Instagram bio will suffice for do you think that you need to create its own?
As I get bigger, as I hope to keep growing and expanding, I'll definitely have to retweak that a little bit, make it more visible, be able to reach more people. But for where I'm at right now, it's mostly word of mouth is how it gets around. My trivia night is different enough to normal the usual trivia night here.
What makes it different?
It's like a Jeopardy style trivia. Normally trivia nights around town, especially that I've been to, it's a lot of pencil and paper. Like they'll show their answer, they'll show the question on the screen, you'll write your answer down, they'll show the next one, you write your answer down, then at the end of like that round,
they collect them
you
all.
turn it in. Yeah. It's very passive, you're just kind of hanging out. You're just out for a drink and also having to be playing trivia while it's going on in the background. Mine's a little more involved. It's like Jeopardy style trivia. You like pick your question, you pick your category and your point value, and other teams have a chance to rebound if you don't get it right. And it's a lot more collaborative. It's a lot more interactive. From what I've heard, people really enjoy it. They say it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm not just trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm a pretty good trivia host.
Somebody
I was
should
on
toot
Jeopardy.
it for it. Yeah,
I was on Jeopardy, for Christ's sake. Not too many trivia hosts in Kansas City can say that.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time.
I know that not everything you see on the social media platforms is real. There's plenty of folks that do staged stuff. But there's lots of creators out there that are like on the streets asking people questions. And I'm not going to say that I've seen a lot, but I've seen enough to where the whole thing is like, look at how fucking dumb we are. And they'll be like, how many continents are there?
Yeah.
And they're like, how many countries are there in North America?
Who was the first president? And they're like,
fucking just whiff after
George Bush.
And I'm like, are we?
We're getting dumber. But I think we're less educated as a whole, and that is, again, without getting too political, I think that's very purposeful, and I think that there are enough means to educate yourself if you know how to, and I hate that phrase because it's always, if you do your own research, that's always a dog whistle
that's my R word.
It's really.
You went to the library and got the stats.
Yeah. Did you really do your own research, or did you spend 5 seconds on Google, find the first link, and you're like, yep, that one agrees with me. That's all my research.
Expert.
It's annoying, but I do think that there is enough. Like, we live in a time where, like, the entire sum of human knowledge is at your fingertips, and if you know how to look for actual factual information, it's there. You can be educated, but I do think the emphasis on education as a whole is greatly diminishing, and it's sad. Obviously, as a former educator and as a current, like, my whole job is knowledge and useless facts and whatnot, and you do get it's interesting seeing in trivia crowds like the spread of people who, like literature as one example. Some people, they don't know jack about, like, if it's not Harry Potter or like Lord of the Rings to an extent, or like something that's like really in the mainstream like consciousness, it just doesn't exist to them. Like, even Shakespeare's, you rarely see anything besides like Romeo and Juliet. Or if I were to ask a question about a character from Hamlet, they'd be like, I've never heard of this in my life. I'm like, this is high school stuff, guys. Like freshman level English.
I got to tell you, senior year of undergrad, psych major, I found myself in a spot where I could either minor in literature, communications, or Spanish, and I went with I was doing enough in communications, like radio show, newspaper, blah blah blah. I was like, I got experience doing this, I don't need to have that. So I was already fluent in Spanish. I was like, so I went literature, and part of that, one of the requirements to minor in that is to take a 400 level Shakespeare class. Fuck. There's
a reason he is to this day the most
plays that
influential,
are this long, and it's all in and it, like, I just read these 3 paragraphs, if you will, quatrains.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just read these 3 4 times, and it's dialogue, and I got to go back. I don't know what's going on, and
That's
at some point I'm like, I got to keep it moving, so I don't really have all of the. But it's not just Romeo and Juliet.
There's so much to it, and I think like not just education as a whole is kind of being diminished, but the value, like what education truly means, like. If you're teaching someone math, you're not teaching them like rote memorization of formulas. You're teaching them how to think critically, how to problem solve, how to use facts that they see in one place and then kind of abstract them and then be able to apply them to other places. If you're teaching someone literature, it's not just read this old dusty book by some white guy in the 1500s. It's you're exposing yourself to like new ways of thinking, to like other experiences, other worldviews.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. There's like the first layer of education, which is the actual like material you're teaching, and then there's the undercurrent underneath that, which is how do I apply? What does this actually mean? Like why am I learning these books? Why do I have to read Shakespeare and Faulkner and Charles Dickens and whatnot? Like why these guys? It's because
My Faulkner section.
Faulkner's my favorite author.
Oh.
Like that's why I brought him up.
Yoknapatawpha County, baby.
It's my boy. As I Lay Dying was the first book. Like I read that I think junior year in high school, and that's when I was like, okay, yeah, there's so much good literature out there. Like this changed my life.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like there's literature and math and history and all these things. Like they can relate. Like you can relate to them if you find a way to like figure out that it's not just a book about, like As I Lay Dying, for example. It's not just a book about a family transporting their dead mom to her hometown.
Every chapter's a different.
There's so much like meaning to be found just in the way it's written and like the things these characters say, and just even if it's something that like these are fiction books, they never happen in real life, but just the prose, the way, like the philosophy of these characters, their like psychological like shifts throughout the book. You're like, okay, now I've seen this. Next time I read a book, I'll be able to compare it to how these other authors are talking about it, and you make connections, you expand on that. And nowadays everything is just like the short attention span era that we live in. It's like there's no time to really get to that deeper meaning. You just see the facts and you just see these things flying at you at 1 billion rates per second, and you go, okay, now what? Like, how am I supposed to make any sense of this? There's just too much, rather than spending a time with a book or a good math problem or a good what have you. It's a worrying trend, but I'm not a doomer saying, we're completely off the beaten path. We're there's no going back. I do think there is a way to like course correct a little bit and put a little more emphasis on, you don't have to be like the most learned individual ever. I'm not saying everyone has to go to college and, get a master's degree and all this shit, but there is a value to education besides just reading a book and solving a math problem and memorizing the quadratic formula and knowing that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Like there's reasons people teach you these things.
Yeah.
And
when I went to get my, I don't know how it works now, but on the Kansas side, when you were 14, you could get a learner's permit, and you could drive to and from school with mom or dad in the car. Then you get your restricted. You can drive anywhere with mom or dad in the car and work or school alone. Mm-hmm. And then that becomes your license. And there was like, 8.5 by 11 sheets folded and stapled into, you go to the DMV and get this booklet and study it. Mm-hmm. So my daughter turned 15 in December and was all gung-ho about getting her permit, her learner's permit. And, she just opened a Quizlet and okay, let's go. And you can take it twice, and you can't take it any more times that day. She failed it both times, and she was devastated because she told everybody, all of her friends, that she was going, and then had to own up to. And so I get home and I go to the website, and the document is like 80 pages or 120, something like that. And okay, these first 20 are bullshit. You don't need them. The last 20 are also bullshit. But here, and I printed the whole thing out, and I said, I know it's daunting, but you should look at the subheadings and highlight. And then as you go through, try and find the meat and potatoes in those subheadings. And the thing sat on her desk for weeks. She's reviewed it a few times now. And recently her mom told her, I think you should look at X and Y on the internet for a
condensed version.
And I was like, we're already doing that.
That's all there is, yeah.
So let's not just abandon the text.
Like, it's fine if you, like, if that's your intro, like that little 15-second or 40-word introduction, but then take that and then dive deeper. Don't let that be the entirety of your...
Yeah.
Like, you can't form a full opinion on a subject off of a 15-second clip or a 40-word blurb. Yeah. Like, it's...
Larry Hartsfield was my favorite literature professor in undergrad, and I remember when we were reading As I Lay Dying, he kept referring to Sanctuary and Popeye and the raping with the corn cob, and I was always like, what? And then at whatever point I'm reading Sanctuary and curious, and then I realize, we're at, and it's already like dark and woodsier than, and then sort of like Shakespeare things. Like I read I was like, let
me go back.
I think it happened right here in these two lines, but it
doesn't
you don't have to be
the
dog walked over to the tree to tell
right.
And I was like, wow, this guy fucking changed.
That was Faulkner for me.
Yeah. So trivia. On the Instagram bio, going well, need more folks, but going great
Happy
so far.
Yeah.
When we were messaging about doing this, you threw out Talking Heads, Nine Inch Nails, Queens of the Stone Age. Talking Heads has 8 records, Nine Inch Nails has 12, Queens of the Stone Age 8. I said... Talking Heads is my favorite of those 3, but you pick, and you said everybody has a Talking Heads video. What have you seen out there?
Especially with because David Byrne on his tour right now, he had his Tiny Desk concert come out not too long ago. I've just seen there's been a lot of Talking Heads discourse I've been seeing online.
Really?
Also, the Stop Making Sense re-release was last year or 2 years
ago.
So there's been a lot of just Talking Heads discourse. And also, it's Talking Heads. They're one of the biggest bands of all time, one of the most influential bands of all time.
They are, but not...
They're one of those bands that you've definitely listened to bands influenced by them, even if you haven't listened to them, like, so much. Yeah. And, like, I love Talking Heads. We were just talking about it. David Byrne is, in my opinion, one of, like, the true geniuses of music that we've had. And I love Talking Heads. I just feel like...
Yeah,
there's not much that can be said about them that you haven't already heard.
I was surprised
everywhere.
that it was only 8, and there's a pretty small window, like late 70s to late 80s.
And really, I mean, they have 8 albums, but really they have those first like 4 or 5 albums, and then a few hits and stuff coming from the last few records.
Okay.
Not anything. There weren't bad records by any means.
But they weren't like those first.
Everything up until Speaking in Tongues is a classic record. Like those first 5 albums is just nonstop banger after banger after banger. After that, they kind of fall off a little bit, but then you have, the Tom Tom Club stuff, and then you have David Byrne's solo stuff and his collaborations with St. Vincent, and there's just so much, like, there's
Brian
a wide
Eno.
berth. Obviously, Brian Eno producing all those Talking Heads albums. And
did he produce them all?
Not all of them.
Okay.
He produced, starting with their second album, More Songs About Buildings and Food, and then he produced all the way up through Remain in Light, I believe.
Okay.
But
that is the way that More Songs About Building and Food kicks off. Just makes me want to run through a wall.
It's fantastic. Thank you for sending me an angel.
Yes.
Right
into that.
It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Talking Heads. But anyway, Talking Heads, fantastic. And so I was like, let's do either Nine Inch Nails or Queens of the Stone Age. And then I just said Queens of the Stone Age. I think they're just it's an easier band to talk about, I think. They're
Nine Inch Nails feels daunting.
It's a little more daunting.
It's only 12. We've done
bigger than that. We did King Gizzard.
Yeah.
But Nine Inch Nails has just so much, like, you talk about Trent Reznor's, like, his music score, like all their soundtrack stuff, like all his collaborations with David Fincher, and there's just there's a lot to dig into with Nine Inch Nails, and I feel like Queens of the Stone Age. I mean, there's a lot to dig into with Queens of the Stone Age too, but I think it's an easier listen. I think Queens of the Stone Age is a lot more accessible as a band than Nine Inch Nails. Nine Inch Nails can be a bit abrasive if you're not familiar with like industrial music or electronic music, like that dark synthwave type stuff.
Yeah.
But Queens of the Stone Age, like if you like rock, you will find something to like in Queens of the Stone Age.
If we did Nine Inch Nails, I feel like we would need a bed of synth rock and darker lighting.
Exactly.
Face
some
paint.
mascara. Yeah. I saw Nine Inch Nails last year in August.
Chicago?
In Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah,
That's right. Did
that
you go
was.
solo?
I drove up there solo. Drove back the next day. It was absolutely nuts, but it was one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow.
And I've seen Queens of the Stone Age 3 times, I believe.
All here?
All here in KC, yeah, and twice. I've seen Queens of the Stone Age twice, and yeah, they put on an amazing show. And same thing, I took friends to the Queens of the Stone Age show that had never heard of the Queens of the Stone Age, and they walked out of there like, okay, what was that one song they played? And what was that one? Like everything we heard was just so amazing. I was like, yeah, that's Queens of the Stone Age for you, man.
Ages ago, when we were communicating about doing a discography episode, you sent me a list of 7 or 8 options. Queens of Stone Age was on that list too.
They're consistently on there. Yeah.
So you've brought them up twice now. How do they enter your life?
So I became, funny enough, in high school. So I'd heard of the first Queens of Stone Age song. I think I like fully like remember like actually listening to and recognizing it as a Queens of Stone Age song. On Guitar Hero 3 is the song 3s and 7s from Era Vulgaris.
Dude.
It's on Guitar Hero 3.
I was like, how do I know this tune?
Yep.
And I forgot to write that down. I'm so glad
That's
you said
where it is. And I liked that song, and I remember listening to it. I was like, okay, this is fun. And then when I got to high school, I was talking to this girl, kind of seeing this girl, and her ex-boyfriend, like they were still friends. And so I became friends with him, and he's a diehard Queens of the Stone Age fan. His name was Alex. And so like he would give me rides to school, rides home or whatever, and he'd just be playing Queens all the time in the car. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting into this. And this was like a year or 2 or 3, a few years before Like Clockwork came out. So we were off the Era Vulgaris train. I had time to like really just dive into those first like 4 or 5 albums. And then the rollout for Like Clockwork started happening towards like my senior year of high school. And My God Is the Sun was the first single that they dropped for that. And I remember just like when that song came out, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be liking this band for a very long time.
Oh, wow, okay.
And to this day, they are one of my favorite. Like, going through this discography, there are a few albums I hadn't visited in a while. And they're one of those bands that to me, like, no bad albums, no bad songs with an asterisk on that. Like, they're one of those, you just throw on any album, any song, and I will have a good time. And it was interesting going back through because, again, there were some albums I hadn't listened to in a while. And I was worried that I was going to go through and be like, oh, I've kind of outgrown this or it's not as good. But there were some albums that I actually was remembering, like, I remember not liking it as much as I do like it now. It's actually grown, it's aged a little better for me. So it was just really exciting getting to dive back into their full discography. Like, some of their albums, like, not to get, like, we'll talk about it more as we get into it, but some of their albums I listen to all the time.
Really?
They are amongst my favorite albums, period.
Okay.
And it was interesting going back and seeing like their more, off the beaten path albums and being like, oh yeah, no, there is no bad Queens of the Stone Age album. They're just ripper after ripper after ripper.
Interesting. So American Rock out of Palm Desert, California, is it pronounced Josh Homme?
Homie.
Josh Homme on vocals and guitar. Only original member. Currently 5 with 9 previous, including Dave Grohl, which I did not know.
Yeah, for Songs to the Deaf, he was their drummer.
I thought he was on another one too.
He's contributed sporadic drums like just throughout their discography, but he was the drummer for Songs to the Deaf, like the only drummer for that whole album. And then obviously they did Them Crooked Vultures later on, where they collaborated.
Yep.
And yeah, they've Queens of the Stone Age is a very collaborative band. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of members that can just kind of like come and go. You have Mark Lanigan. He's the biggest,
Screaming
obvious.
Trees Dollar Bill album was.
And then, like, unlike Clockwork, you have like freaking Elton John makes an appearance on there. You have Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys. He makes an appearance on there. Like, they have a lot of friends in the music industry, and they love bringing those friends onto their records, which is something you don't really see very often in rock. I feel like that you have some collaborations, but mostly like it's a very like, this is our band and this is our music. Queens of the Stone Age, you know, they have the Eagles of Death Metal crossovers. They have just Josh Homme as a producer. He's worked with so many other bands as well that then come back and collaborate with them. So it's very interesting seeing how those other artists like integrate into the Queens of the Stone Age sound and really make it like that full-bodied, like in your face, desert stoner rock type thing.
Stoner rock. This is, if memory serves, the first time I'm coming across this genre in the podcast land. I know genres are weird and open to interpretation, but what is stoner rock?
So, like, I'm no expert by any means. I really like my familiarity with stoner rock begins and mostly ends with Queens of the Stone Age, but I am familiar with Caius, like Josh Homme's previous band before, and then like some other bands that kind of came out of that Palm Desert scene. But it's the way I see it is like it's like they took like they took like hard rock, just like the energy, just like in your face, bombastic, like riff heavy nature of hard rock, and then just made it like for the stoners. Like, it's just very repetitive, very groovy, very mechanical, very not super effect heavy. Like, it's very raw, but even in that rawness, there's a lot of like I said, there's grooves, there's repetition. People compare it to krautrock. Like, there's a very strong krautrock influence, just like those really driving, like four on the floor beats and just nonstop. Like, this song is not letting up at any point. This is just balls to the wall. And I think like that first Queens of Stone Age album was just like pure desert stoner rock, like no frills, just that's all it is. And then once you get deeper into their discography, they kind of expand on that sound a little bit and make it their own. But that's how I've always envisioned stoner rock, is like it's the bombastic like nature of just pure hard rock, but with a more like dream-like, trance-like just groove to it.
So I didn't really do much poking around on Josh Homme, but I just seemed to take in like there's some stuff about songs or themes of records coming to him across drives in California and ups and downs in life. Produced, he's got the producer hat. Seems like a sharp dude. Seems like he's experimented with substances quite a bit. But that's all I have. Can you fill in some of the blanks for me? What do you know about this dude?
So he's he's a character for sure. He's had his ups and downs. Every rock star basically has kind of had that. But I think he's one of the more notable, bad boys of rock and roll of like that era, like the 90s and 2000s. And he's had some, substance abuse issues. He's had some run-ins with the press, some run-ins with fans that I'm sure he'd like to take back. But I've never seen him as like a bad guy, just a guy who's had been dealt some shit hands and maybe made some poor decisions here and there. But I mean, haven't we all? Yeah. But like not, he has done some pretty nasty stuff in his time. But I mean, from my experience, from my like own understanding of the band and of him as a person, like he's a dude making good rock music who has been a bit too drunk and a bit too high at times. Okay. And he's, from what I've seen, especially the last like decade plus, he's really like matured and kind of come out of it as like he had a near-death experience, which basically influenced all of like Clockwork, and that like basically since then, I don't think he's like completely sober or anything. He's checked into rehab a few times since then, but you can tell in the music, especially, and just like the way he interacts with press, like they've calmed down a lot. Like they're not in their late 20s, early 30s making
Indestructible.
like Rated R starts off with nicotine, Valium, Vicodin, marijuana. Like that, they're not making songs like that anymore.
Right.
Not just a grocery list of drugs.
Right.
But they're one of those bands that like they live the lifestyle that they're talking about. Like they were running the desert all the time, high as balls, just living the life. Like they were about it. And that definitely translates into music. Like they were some insane motherfuckers in those first few albums, and it definitely translates.
So if you subscribe to this notion of what you are listening to in the age 14 to 17 age will sort of lay the foundation for, for lack of a better phrase, for where your musical journey will take you. And what do you think he was listening to at that age?
A lot of glam, a lot of like David Bowie, a lot of T-Rex, a lot of that, just like really larger than life personalities, like not just like the personalities that transcend the music, like people that, like I said, like Queens of the Stone Age, they live the music they're talking about. David Bowie and T-Rex and Brian Eno and like those guys, they were living that life. And also a lot of, just hard rock, like Southern rock. There's a strong Southern rock influence throughout the Queens of the Stone Age. Not like you're not going to hear a country song out of any of their albums, but there is a strong that just like that homegrown feel, just like that. We're not doing too frilly of music, like we're just sticking to our roots.
Yeah.
And you get that a lot. Like I'm sure he listened to a lot of just like the Animals, the Monkees, like just those very like classic rock bands that just weren't like adding all this extra blah to it. Like they were just like really meat and potatoes.
Can I get you a beverage?
Oh yeah, I'd love another one. Yeah.
So, most episodes when I'm rapping, I've hit the guests with a series of goofy questions. If the guest comes back, I got to come up with 5 new ones. If there are multiple, I got to. Every time you're here, I'm like, what am I going to ask Sam? But one of those questions for first-time guests is, you're given the opportunity to have a cup of coffee with anyone of your choosing, dead or alive, who you're choosing and why. If you had answered for whatever reason, Josh Homme to that, if that was your answer to that question, do you think you would fanboy out, or would you try and just fucking have normal conversation about life?
I'd try to be as chill as possible.
Okay.
But just like seeing, like I've seen plenty of his interviews. He's a character. Like he's a ham. Like he's gonna like bounce off you. He's gonna crack jokes. He's gonna and I would love to just like be able to sit down and just poke his brain and see, because there's a very distinct sound to Queens of the Stone Age. Like even among desert rock and stoner rock, Queens of the Stone Age has a very distinct like production style, very distinct like riff style, and he actually has his own like scale. Like he has a modified version of the blues scale that's what like he mostly uses, which kind of gives that like kind of weird nocturnal like offbeat sound that they're known for. And you'd love to know, like, how'd you come up with that? What made you decide, like, so many options, like, so many career choices they could have made, and instead they did this. And I just think that would be a very fun person to sit down with. Josh Homme today would be very fun to sit down with.
Fair.
Josh Homme, like, in the Rated R era, like, the Songs to the Deaf era, probably would have been a bit more, kick over the mic stand and, do a line off of the nearby teleprompter or something.
Nice.
But which also would have been interesting in its own way, I'm sure. But I think, getting to sit down and talk to Josh Homme, especially all that he's been through the past decade, like that near-death experience I mentioned, and just everything that he's lived through, it would just be very interesting to pick that brain. Cause he's one of the, like, he's the last, not the last, but he's one of the last, like, rock stars. It's him, it's Jack White, it's Dave Grohl, it's to an extent Trent Reznor, even though rock is kind of pushing it a little bit, but those just like that generation of like singular musicians that just like larger than life, like they exemplify that rock star persona. You really don't have that anymore, and I think him being like that last bastion of that era of rock. It would be very interesting to see
Yeah.
what he thinks of how things are changing.
I forget. Forgive me if I've asked you this before. Are you a Star Wars fan?
To an extent, yeah. I wouldn't call myself like a huge fan, but I've
Okay.
seen all the movies.
Okay.
I've tried to watch the TV shows.
I want to say I've seen them all a million times. Attack of the Clones. They're trying to assassinate Padme, and Jango Fett hires this. I believe the term is changeling, and this person is a female. Puts like this gross lizardy caterpillary thing in the bedroom Padme's sleeping in, and Anakin and Obi-Wan rush in to save the day, and then Obi-Wan dives out a window and follows this capsule back to this gal that Jango Fett has hired, and then there's this huge chase trying to get and as they are like, who hired you, Jango Fett shoots her with a poison dart and kills her so that she won't spill the beans.
Yeah.
And and you see weird flashes of her, like, you know, in a half second, like, I think when stress or a different emotion, like, she kind of becomes lizardy for a quick second. When he kills her, she reverts to lizard
Full
form
lizard, yeah.
and dies. And when I first started going through this discography, I'm like, oh, there's a familiar influence on the sleeve, and then I think I got it again, and then it was a different artist and a different artist and a different artist, and all of a sudden I'm like, this guy's like a fucking chameleon. Which, you know, then I'm like, maybe that might just be my own thing,
Right, you interpreting.
yeah. But I mean, by the time I got through it, I was like, I'm pretty sure that he can. Here's who I am and who we are. But if I want to lean into this lane and give you a little Bowie or whatever the case may be, it's, you know, like in Fight Club when they flash dicks on the screen. Like, what was that?
Subliminal messaging, yeah.
What's the Quentin Tarantino movie where Leonardo's, you know?
Oh, yeah. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, yeah. I've seen that, yeah.
So 9 Grammy nominations for these guys. Something in the way of an unofficial cool label has been attached to them for 20 plus years.
They're one of those rare bands that they're big amongst, like, they have a lot of critical success, like the diehard like music fans love them, and they've also had a good bit of crossover, like mainstream success. And, you know, they could still sell out. They probably won't be headlining Lollapalooza, but they could still, you know, if they were to play Lollapalooza or Coachella or something, they would be one of the bigger headliners there, while also releasing music that, you know, actual, like, not to sound pretentious, but like music fans, like people who don't just listen like to the mainstream, people who like analytically dive into music, they can still appreciate Queens of the Stone Age. It's like, oh no, these guys know what they're doing. They're not just playing the success game. They're about what they're singing about and what they're playing about, and they're like experimenting. They're pushing their bounds. They're keeping things fresh. They're a good band.
Yeah. I remember when I was, like I said, the communication stuff, I'm hosting a radio show. I had a pretty good finger on the pulse of some new stuff coming out, and then you step out of that role and immediately it's gone.
Of course, yeah.
Because you're not in the environment where. So I'm back in Kansas City. I'm chefing in Westport for a few years, and all of a sudden, one night, a weeknight, like, in my opinion. I mean, everybody that I worked with to a large degree there was cool in some sense or another. But in my opinion, one night, like, all the really cool bartenders and servers were off. And they came in there to pre-party, and they were all going to see Queens of the Stone Age. And I was like, I can tell you one thing. I'm not telling anybody that I've never heard of this band before because, fuck, you think you know something. And then all the cool folks... So that's literally my intro. Like, fuck, cool name. also.
Great name.
And so
Killer name.
if you, which folks do, include probably even them, if you take their name and make an acronym.
Kotza.
Okay, so you're not pronouncing the to get the W, you have to have the U and the Q together. But it's Quotsa.
Yeah.
So it's Kotza.
I just say Kotza. Yeah.
Do folks say Quotza?
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
I've never heard someone say Kotza out loud. I just see it online, like people
you
shortening.
see it and your brain
but in my
goes-
mind, it should be Quotza because of the Q. But I've always said Kotza. That's
Okay.
just
Okay.
If anything, I'll just say Queens.
Yeah.
That's what I usually shorten it to. But yeah, they are. They on that name, Queens of the Stone Age. I was reading an article that said it's the greatest name for a glam rock band that never existed. And like they do get a little glammy at points, but it is like that. It's a very feminine name, obviously, Queens of the Stone Age, which Josh Homme has a quote, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the exact quote, but he said that rock and roll should be heavy enough for the boys and sexy for the girls. And I think that's just like the entire MO of Queens of the Stone Age in one. Like it's super, like it's rock, it's heavy for the guys, but he's also crooning. He's doing like these sexy voices. He is a horny motherfucker. Like almost every album, there are a few songs that's just like, tone it down a notch, buddy. Like it's okay.
All right, Dave Matthews, we get it.
We get it, man.
You like pussy.
We get it, dude. It's okay. But it's just got a lot of wide appeal, and I think that name has a lot of it. It's just a very unconventional name, like for a band as heavy as Queens of the Stone Age can be, especially in those early albums. A name like Queens of the Stone Age it's just such a strong juxtaposition. And
I gotta say, as a person that does not lean in the heavy lane, I was intimidated, and I was pleasantly surprised that I was overthinking how heavy it was going to be. And anyway, I just thought it was cool. Before we dive in, do you have any notes or things you want to say before we start? Let's do it.
Repeat. This is one of my favorite bands ever, and I'm just really excited to get to really dive into just everything I love about them.
So, self-titled, 1997, 11 songs, 47 minutes. Great kickoff vibe with Regular John. And immediately, Avon started giving me Weezer-y vibes. In tone.
I see that. That's not in like
identity.
vocally, early alt rock sound,
I felt it get a little sleepy through track 6, Mexicola. Piqued my interest with the little Soundgarden-y kind of flair.
Honestly, when you put it that way.
And then You Can't Quit Me, Baby. I'm getting Jimmy Chamberlain-esque drums.
That's one of my favorite Queen songs.
Even Pumpkin's guitar tone, and actually a line from Creep.
So that comes on. That's one of the things that comes up quite a bit throughout Queens of the Stone Age discography. Josh Homme loves borrowing lyrics from other artists. This isn't the first time it happens, but it is probably the most prominent time. But yeah, I want you to notice when I'm not around, and the way he emphasizes it's very clearly not just a throwaway. Like it's from Creep. He's definitely borrowing it from Creep. And yeah, that is one of my favorite songs on the album. It is a very, like you said, it does kind of get kind of repetitive after those first few tracks. This is a very dry, like production-wise, it's a very dry album. There's not a lot of variety to the songwriting. It's just meat and potatoes, stoner rock. Like it's just, and Regular John is a very interesting, like that being the first song, the first album, and it's about prostitution, and like that just sets the tone for exactly what you're gonna get with this band.
I found myself annoyed by the way the record ended, just because I'm getting all this stuff that's piquing my, and then I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's a very low key. Honestly, that might be the most low-key like song period that they've ever done. Like you don't get that really just ambient, just super quiet Queen sound very often. And to end the album that way, like they're a band that they know how to start an album and they know how to end an album usually. And this is a very interesting, given what they've done throughout this album so far, like super heavy, super in your face. To end it on that note, it is kind of it leaves you wanting more. Like what else is there?
Yeah.
And I see on the track list you have written out here, there are a ton of bonus tracks. I don't know if you listen to any of those.
No, I deliberately make it a point.
Avoided it.
If the default is the deluxe 20th with or the bonus, it's like, no,
I want this.
Yeah.
So for some reason on Spotify, this album has the bonus tracks like integrated into the track list, just like randomly throughout. And Queens of Stone Age is a band that for some reason their bonus tracks are some of their best songs.
Oh, shit.
I love the Queens of Stone Age bonus tracks. On this first album, there's a song called The Bronze that, in my opinion, if it had been on the actual album, it would have been my favorite song on the album. It's just a killer song. But you see that come up a lot. Like, for some reason, whatever reason, a lot of albums, there's like 2 or 3 bonus tracks that they'll tack on at the end for like a deluxe edition or a Japanese reissue or whatever that you're like, dude, this rips. Why was this not on the actual album? And maybe it doesn't like fit the tone or whatever, but more often than not, like there are no bad Queens of Stone. Like even their B-sides are killer songs.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I got some post-episode homework to do. Rated R from 2000. 12 tracks, 42 minutes. Feel good hit of the summer. Kind of violent femsy. Lost Art of Keeping a Secret was familiar.
That was their like breakthrough, like first big hit single.
Okay.
On the rock charts.
I was going, was this from a soundtrack that I'm not being able to play? Like, how do I know this?
Yeah, I'm sure it was on like some indie movie soundtracks.
I dug Leg of Lamb. But then I felt like there were some rough spots until In the Fade, which was really nice.
In the Fade is my favorite Queens of Stone Age song. It might be like one of my favorite songs, period, ever. I hate the ending of it. Like it just kind of cuts, and then you get that reprise of Feel Good Hit of the Summer coming in. I wish it had like an actual ending, but up until then, those Mark Lanegan vocals. This is the first album where you get Mark Lanegan and Nick Oliveri, and like you get this. One of my favorite features of Queen of Stone Age is like the rotating vocalists. Like it's not just Josh Homme singing.
Yeah.
Mark Lanegan provides this like super like soulful like raspy voice, and then Nick Oliveri is just absolutely batshit crazy, screaming his head off and like Tension Head and Quick and to the Pointless. But this was their first like. If that first album was like their announcement, like we're Queens of the Stone Age, this was the one where it's like, and here's what we can do. Like It's not just like here. We're not just like a meat and potatoes rock band. Like we can get weird with it. Like the last song, I think I Lost My Headache. That just bonkers horn freak out. Like the last 2 minutes of the song. And the song being in like 15/8 time and all just this craziness, and preceded by Lightning Song, which is like this super nice acoustic instrumental piece. And they showed like their variety, like their range really came through on this album. And like they refined their sound a lot more, but I think this is the first like masterpiece, if you want to call it. They'd have better albums going forward, but this was the first one where it's like, this is the Queens of the Stone Age sound that we're going to get more of. And yeah, Lost Art of Keeping a Secret is a banger. Leg of Lamb is a banger. I'm not like Monsters in the Parasol is among my lower tier of Queen songs, but like Better Living Through Chemistry, I love that, like just the drums on that, the riff on that, like that spacey middle part before it comes back in like super loud at the end. It's a great album, front to back, just absolutely killer.
Songs for the Deaf has made 2 lists on the podcast.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, and it's the only Queen's record to have appeared. It's from 2002, 14 tracks, 60 minutes. I sort of, if I had given that any thought at all, had chalked it up to coincidence, but Apple lists it as one of 2 essential in the catalog, and then it sort of seems to be a fan favorite.
It's their biggest album by far.
Yeah, but is it the best?
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
Gun to my head, it is probably their best album. Like it is the most Queens of the Stone Age album. Like if you were to pick one album to just define them, like their entry into the pantheon of rock legends, it would be this album. this is one of the best rock albums, period, in my opinion. Like, it's just so consistent. Like, the theme to it, you get the radio signals coming in between some songs, like the radio stations cutting in. This is just rated R on steroids.
Yeah.
Like, it just, everything that made rated R so good just ramped up to 11 on this one.
Up to 11, and the huge reason why I was had trepidation about consuming a heavy catalog, because this is the only record I've listened to.
And this is their heaviest. This is definitely their heaviest album.
I do my best to give these albums listens down here with these on. Sometimes I gotta throw it on in the car and make notes in my notes when I'm stopped or whatever. But it gets tricky because if I'm alone and then I get out of the car and then the next place I go is to pick up one of the kids, or I'm on the whatever, I can lose track of when then I got to I made it through track 2 of this. I got to go back. And so I picked up, I listened to Self-Titled and Rated R and had this on, and I got a couple of tracks in and picked up the kids. So I turned it down, and they were, for whatever reason, not asking me 8 million questions and talking about this, that, and the other thing, and listening to Snapchat messages.
Reels and whatnot.
Yeah. So I was like, So I turned it back up a little bit and was like, let me keep the flow going, so I'm not cramming when it's time. And my daughter stopped from whatever she was doing and goes, "What even is this music?" Which she's never, I don't typically have anything particularly heavy on, but it was, I think, heavy and tweaked enough for her to pull her out of her world. And go,
like, what's going on
Dad.
here? Yep. That's the thing. Like, you have Josh Homme's like voice just soaring over these like super crunchy guitars and like super repetitive rhythms, and just his voice is just like really ties it all together. But no, this is, like I said, their heaviest album, their most consistent, like thematically consistent album. Like, it starts with that, like, him turning on the car, what's the saga? It's songs for the deaf. You can't even hear it. And like, you get all these like quirky interludes in between. And as you get deeper into the album, it gets a little more like weird. You get songs like God Is in the Radio, which is one of my absolute favorite Queens of the Stone Age songs. Honestly, Mark Lanegan might be my favorite of the 3 vocalists that they employ.
Do you know any Screaming Trees record?
Yeah.
Dollar Bill?
And his solo stuff. Have you ever listened to his, after Queens of the Stone Age, after he kind of did his stuff with them, he started doing some really good solo stuff. He had an album like 2014, 2015 called Bubblegum, which is fantastic. I really like Mark Lanegan. He passed away like 4 or 5 years ago, and that was
I forgot about
a sad time for me. I just went back and went through just like the Screaming Trees and like those early Queens albums.
How many records did they put out?
Screaming Trees?
Yeah.
It wasn't too many.
Like half a dozen?
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6, I want to say. But it's just, he's just such a good vocalist. He has a very unique voice. Yeah.
Yes.
Like super raspy. Yeah. It's almost like Tom Waitsy, but like more melodic, yeah. More like ethereal a little bit. But yeah, no, God Is on the Radio is fantastic. Hanging Tree is fantastic. There's a few songs on here that they're not bad songs, just kind of fall a little short, like Another Love Song and Gonna Leave You. I think those are the 2 that just come to mind as like, I could have taken or left these off the album. Not that they're bad album songs, again, they're still fantastic. Like, even the worst Queens of the Stone Age songs are great rock songs. Just kind of, in my opinion, break up the flow a little bit. And like Do It Again is another one that, like, great song, just kind of like, I'm in this vibe, I'm in this like heavy, like rocking groove. I don't want this detour so much. And then you get to the end, A Song for the Deaf is just, that riff, my God, that might be one of my favorite riffs ever. Just so like gnarly and circular and like dark. And then the song fades out. You get Dave Catching coming in, not saying goodnight, just saying, which is like my favorite. I love that ending. So that's the ending of the album proper, is Dave Catching saying that.
Right.
And then you get that weird, like, the ha 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 like sound coming in, which is just feel good hit of the summer, but them just like being weird with it. And then you get Mosquito Song,
which is the hidden track.
Track, which Mosquito you get the lyric Lullabies to Paralyze in that song, which would name the next album, and just the sound of Mosquito Song is so different from what you've been listening to so far and what you've been listening to in any Queens of the Stone Age album. And it's a very good sneak peek of that like nocturnal feeling that you'd get on the next album. And it's basically like a post-credit scene, like an MCU, like here's what to expect in the next Avengers movie.
Right.
But it's a movie. Like this really is a cinematic experience, sort of starting in Desert Valley and going to Joshua Tree. That's
somebody
like
called it what do you call an album that has a underlying motif?
Concept album.
Yes, thank you.
It's it absolutely is a concept, and a really fucking good one at that.
Yeah. So this is perhaps the most hypocritical detail of me doing this podcast, being that I am of the belief that one listen to an album gives you nothing. Second listen gives you an opinion. Third listen gives you the liberty to share that opinion.
That's fair, yeah.
But I only give these records one listen, right? So take that for what it's worth. Having said that, going through the Queens of the Stone Age catalog, these 8 full-length studio records, knowing Songs for the Deaf a little bit ahead of time. So one listen all the way through. Lullabies to Paralyze is probably my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
2005, 14 tracks, 59 minutes. Love the actual lullaby opener. It was neat and curious and perhaps misleading.
Yeah.
I was like, are we going to do this the whole record? Oh,
not at all. We're gonna rock.
Everybody Knows That You're Insane was fun and familiar in that soundtracky way again. I Never Came, haunty Radiohead vibes.
That's a good way. Early Radiohead, yeah.
Broken Box was pretty fun. You've Got a Killer Scene There, Man.
Fantastic.
Was fun, bluesy rock with some David Gilmour Animals.
Those
tone.
like slidey, yeah.
Tell me about this record.
So, this is their coming off of the bombastic, balls to the wall rock sound of Songs to the Deaf. This was very much a left turn for them. This was their most moody, like atmospheric album. But again, you start off with this Lullaby, which is like it says on the title. It's just Mark Lanegan kind of just, are you there over the, like it's so like mesmerizing, like it pulls you in. And this is a nocturnal album. Like the whole theme, it borrows a lot from like fairy tales and a lot from like just like this fear of like the unknown, like the darkness, and just like darkness, like the album cover, it's like this little girl holding a light surrounded by darkness. There could be a big bad wolf back there. There could be any sort of monster. And it's funny you say that this is your favorite album. For the longest time, this was my favorite album as well. Like which is an interesting, it's not a very popular opinion amongst the Queens of the Stone Age discography. This is one of the more like hidden gem type albums. And I think I need to
throw in the caveat that I did enjoy Self-Titled and Rated R. So of the first 4, Songs for the Deaf is in the 4 spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. That is a wild.
But,
I mean, more power to you.
It's one listen, one
exactly,
listen.
Yeah.
3 listens, 1 listen.
But still, I mean, that's just Queen of the Stone Age. They have every album has its own unique flavor, and there's something to like in each album. This is the album that I think I listened to the most when I was first kind of really getting into Queens of the Stone Age. Like Rated R and and Songs of the Deaf were their bigger albums, but this is the one I kept coming back to. Tangled Up in Plaid is one of my favorite songs, period. You Got a Killer Scene There, Man is one of my favorite songs by them. Little Sister is one of their bigger like radio hits.
Okay.
That's a big one. But for me, like from The Blood Is Love on until the end, that is like one of their strongest stretches of songs. Like The Blood Is Love in particular, I just love that. Like it's a very driving, like it never it's a very not predictable, but it's a very like repetitive in a good way song. Skin on Skin is maybe the horniest Queens of the Stone Age song. Like
a couple times I'm like,
there is no subtext here. We are right in it. And then following that up with Broken Box is such a funny juxtaposition. Like Skin on Skin is all we are gonna fuck, and then Broken Box is I'm done with you. Get out of my house. Like I want nothing more of this. You got a killer scene there, man. We just talked about is a very those Mark Lanigan vocals again. Mark Lanigan and Josh Homme. Josh Homme almost doing like a Mark Lanigan impression, that like raspier crooner style. Just like those trading guitar solos in between the verses, and it's so smoky. Like he just walked into a dive bar, and this is a band just playing a song. And
Tom Waits is over there eating peanuts.
Exactly, yeah. And then Long Slow Goodbye is just a killer, like it's a very upbeat closer for a very downbeat album.
I was expecting it not to be upbeat.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, but it's a very happy, like that guitar, that the phone tone that starts like da-da-da-da-da-da.
And they come back to it at the end, right? Yeah.
It's just a very good encapsulation of like, it was a dark-ish album, like their darkest feeling album so far, but it's still Queens of the Stone Age. We can still rock, we can still have fun with it.
Skin on Skin. I'm like, geez, and then I looked and saw the next track was called Broken Box. I was like, Jesus, dude. Okay.
We are not doing any subtlety here at all.
Yeah. What else you got on this one?
Honestly, this is, like I said, it's one of the more underrated, underappreciated albums in their discography. But I wouldn't start with this album. Like if you're first getting into Queens of the Stone Age, this might not give a good idea of the quality that their whole discography has. But if you're like familiar with their stuff, this is a gem. Like this is an absolute beautiful album. Yeah. This is among the absolute best in my opinion.
So as soon as we nailed down what we were doing and when we were doing it, I was like, I don't want to have to cram, so I'll get started. I think I made it through these first four, and then my attention was elsewhere. So I had a little bit of a break, and so I get back in with Era Vulgaris from 2007, which is 12 tracks, 50 minutes. I didn't have much of an opinion until Make It With You, which I thought was all right. And then all of a sudden I was perplexed. I was like, things keep getting Radiohead-ier.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I'd forgotten about the Creep thing from album one until I was revisiting my notes. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. But I'm listening to this driving, and the album wraps, and the algorithm
keeps going,
but it doesn't go into the next Queens of the Stone Age. No. It goes to where it thinks. So all of a sudden, Devil's Staircase starts playing, and I'm like, I'm fucking losing. And I was like, oh, it just put a Beck song on, which ironically, but I was like, okay, now
I'm all over the place.
Well, I was like, I'm getting all these feelings of different artists. And all of a sudden, for half a second, I'm like, this is like a fucking Beck cut. What? Oh, okay, my bad. It just went to a different artist and track altogether. Mm-hmm. But Era Vulgaris for you is what?
This was their most recent album at the time, like when I really started getting into Queens of the Stone Age. And it's among my less favorite of their discography. Again, not a bad album by any means, but it is, in my opinion, their most inconsistent. Like it's their most all over the place. There's a lot of electronic influence on here, a lot of really just out there weirdness just kind of thrown in there. It's a very dancey, like bouncy record, which, on paper would make for a great Queens of Stone Age album. That sounds like it would be right in line with their vibe, but in execution, I think it's a little too varied. I think some of my absolute favorite Queen songs are on this album. Some of my absolute least favorite Queen songs are on this album. And again, I have a soft spot for it because it was the most recent album when I started getting into them. But if I were to just be like gun to my head, rank their 8 albums, this would probably be 5 or 6. Like
this is
towards the bottom. Yeah.
One listen through. This is 8 for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't dislike it, but I found myself, hey, let's not make notes for the sake of having notes. Like, I really want something to speak to me for me to write it down to talk to you about. And I'm like,
not getting that here.
I'm you know what I'm doing? I'm moving on.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating because we had the same experience with the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Like, I felt shitty about saying what I was going to say about record X, and you were like, "This is
nah, dude, I'm right there with you."
And then you shit on that record like 10 times. I'm exaggerating,
Right.
But so I'm glad that we sort of are somewhat on the same.
Yeah, it
page.
is again great album. I'm Designer. I think Turning on the Screw is one of my favorite openers in their discography. I think it's some of Josh Homme's funniest lyrics. He's an interesting lyricist. He relies a lot on like wordplay and just being really clever. And sometimes it works great. Sometimes I'm like, all right, dude, let's get back to the music here. But in this, on Turn On the Screw, I think it's just him at his absolute cheekiest and most funny. Sick, 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 one of their bigger rock hits, like radio hits, which has Julian Casablancas of The Strokes. He does the refrain on that.
Okay.
The I'm gonna say I'm not gonna change, like that little bridge part towards the end. That's Julian Casablancas on the vocal. I'm Designer, one of the weirdest songs in their discography, but that's one of the songs that, like, when I was first getting into the band, like, they were a rock band for me. I was like, I kind of get the vibe. That was a song when I listened to it, I was like, oh no, they're weird. Like, these guys have something else going on. Like, they're not afraid to get really weird with it. Into the Hollow, I'm not a huge fan of. Love Misfit Love, especially the last, like, little 2 minutes of that, just a dead man walking through the dead of night, that part. Battery Acid, I Could Take or Leave. Make It With You is fun. It's a really fun song, but one that, like, it's just so out there in the Queen's discography. But again, very horny song. Just the whole thing is just, I don't know shit except that I want to fuck. That is all I'm here for. Threes and Sevens, again, that was the first song that, like, I bonded with, that I was like, this is a Queen song, and it's a very balanced, like, whomp, whomp, whomp.
Yeah.
Like,
that's 1,000% where I know it from, is from that Guitar Hero. And I was second guessing myself. Like, I keep having these experiences where tracks are familiar. I don't know where from. So Threes and Sevens, I was like, I got to put that in my note, and then I forgot. And I'm so glad you said
another great lyrical tour de force from Josh Homme. I love it. Suture Up Your Future is a little understated, but I think it's a lot of fun. It's another really good, just like I said, really quiet-ish Queens of the Stone Age song. River in the Road, I keep going back and forth on. Like,
I kind of dug it.
I really like the vibe, like the rhythm to it. The dun, 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 like, I love that beat, but it does kind of get old, I think. Run Pig Run, I don't care for much. This might be my least favorite closer in their discography. Again, they're really good at closing albums. This is their one big misstep.
I don't think I stayed with it all the way. I was like,
his vocals on it are weird. I don't like just like the jarring, just all these sounds coming in. I don't love it. That being said, going back to the bonus tracks thing that I was mentioning earlier, the bonus tracks on this album just blow everything on the album out of the water.
Really?
Not everything. Again, there are some really good songs on this track list, but there's the title track, Era Vulgaris, featuring Trent Reznor, which is fantastic. There's The Fun Machine Took a Shit and Died, which is a very fun song. And then there's Running Joke, which is basically like a leftover from the Lullabies to Paralyze days that found its way as a bonus track here. And again, why these songs couldn't make the album, I'll never know. Like, I think we could have left off like Into the Hollow, probably could have left off not Battery Acid. Battery Acid is a fan favorite. It's just not for me, but there was room on here. We could have thrown in the title track. The title track, I think, is great. But again, this is in the lower tier, in my opinion, of Queen's albums. Okay. It is still great. It is still one of my favorite bands making a really good album. Just compared to the other masterpieces they have, it's whatever.
I mean, there's got to be a 1 and an 8, for everyone making a list. And
this isn't my 8, but
it's
slow there. Well, it's getting close.
A 1 and an 8 and all the numbers in between. So fascinating that they go 97, 2000, 02, 05, 07.
They were cranking them out. They took quite a pause.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Clockwork, 2013. 10 tracks, 46 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I seem to recall a mention of these most recent 3 releases being called a trilogy.
So I was seeing that as well. I don't know if they meant, if Queens of the Stone Age themselves called it a trilogy, or if it's because these are the 3 albums they released on Matador Records. I don't see that much of a through line between the 3.
When I was seeing it, it was like we're throwing this at the wall to see if it sticks, or we're calling it a soft trilogy or an unintentional trilogy.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I'm like, more power to you.
Yeah.
I try not to pay attention to that. I just focus on the album. And
Yeah.
to put it bluntly, this is my favorite Queens of the Stone Age album.
Okay,
And
I was going to say, it used to be Lullabies to Paralyze, and it became this.
Oh, by far. This is...
How long has it held that spot?
Oh, as soon as I first heard this album, I was like, this is...
Listen 1?
Listen 1. I was like, this is a masterpiece.
Really? Wow.
Just so... This is, one of my favorite albums, period. Just point blank. The lead up to this album was so, like I said, My God Is the Sun was that first single release, and I was like, holy shit, give me more of this. And then they released a bunch of snippets of the other songs. I don't think they released any full singles after My God Is the Sun. But on YouTube, they would release like maybe 30-second to 1 minute, just like the verse and the chorus, or just like a piece of a guitar solo for most of the other songs on the album. And I was like, this is weird. This is all over the place. This is like there's a different vibe to this that I wasn't expecting, especially off of My God Is the Sun, which is just such a rocker, like just in your face, like face melter. Keep Your Eyes Peeled is such a gloomy, like trudging opener, and it like really sets the tone. Again, this is the album that came out after Josh Homme's near-death experience,
which was what again?
I want to say it was a car accident,
or
a motorcycle accident, but I'm not like 100% on that. But you can tell that this is by far their most mature album, their most somber, like reflective. And I think they're most, like, up until this point, you don't hear a lot of piano on Queens of the Stone Age album. You don't hear a lot of strings on the Queens of the Stone Age album. On this album, they really went out on the production aspects, like really diversifying the sound. And, I mean, just good God, like, again, Keep Your Eyes Peeled, fantastic opener. That going into I Sat by the Ocean, which is such a fun, like, just standard rock song with, like, these, like, the slide guitar on it. Vampire of Time and Memory, just a straight-up, like, piano ballad.
Vampire with a Y.
Yeah, Vampire, yeah. Fucking fancy Old English spelling. If I Had a Tale is one of my favorite Queens of the Stone Age songs. And, again, it has Julian Casablancas on the outro. Or Alex Turner on the outro there. My God Is the Sun, again, just fucking top tier rock song. Collapsia with Trent Reznor. This is the...
I was like, let's move on. Come on.
I disagree. I love it.
Really?
It's just so, like, the dreaminess, and then as soon as the guitars come in for the chorus, it just crunches up so bad. And again, Queens of the Stone Age and Nine Inch Nails, they're both 2 of my all-time favorite bands. So seeing this crossover
doesn't it start, like, kind of atonal, notey, kind of...
Yeah.
Okay,
I love that. That's... Yeah, coming in off of, because, like, My God Is the Sun, like, fades out, and then Collapsia comes in, and just, like, the twinkling little pianos, and, like the Broadway vocals almost, and then once it gets into the chorus, like, what have you done? Like, it's just so good. Fairweather Friends with Elton John. When I saw that Elton John was featured on a song, I was like, what? Queens of Stone Age Elton John, that is crazy. Lo and behold, he's literally just providing the piano and like some backing vocals on the chorus, like, which is so funny to me. You get literally Elton fucking John, like one of the biggest musicians of all time. He, from what I understand, he approached them and was like,
really?
Love your guys' stuff, would love to collaborate in some way. And they were like, yeah, sing the background vocals on this one track 7 on our album or whatever. I love Fairweather Friends. It's a very... like glammy, just like in your face. And then something I love about Queens of Stone Age in general is like they're very self-referential. They bring up lines from old songs, like not just that Creep line from the first album, but some of their own lyrics they'll bring up again. And I didn't mention it when we were talking about it, but on the very first album, on Mexicola, one of the more infamous lyrics in the Queens of Stone Age discography is, "I wish we'd get away, drink wine, and screw." That is, like, to this day, a meme amongst Queens of the Stone Age fans.
Are you still a big Reddit dude?
For the most, not as much as I used to be. I do still hop on every now and then, but I hopped onto the Queens of Stone Age Reddit, like just went through a lot of like the album discussions that they've done like in preparation for this, and it is funny how many people bring up that line.
Interesting,
because it's just so blunt. Like, "I wish we'd get away, drink wine, and screw."
Yeah.
Boom. And then on Fairweather Friends, the line is, "One day when we're far away from everything that's good, drink wine and screw is all we'll do."
Funny.
And so it's like that little callback. And you get Smooth Sailing, which is just this like really bouncy, like funky, groovy track.
I liked Smooth Sailing considerably more than Collapsia and Fairweather Friends.
That's fair. Because, Collapsia and Fairweather Friends are the more like show tuney-ish songs on here, like more like big band, well, not big band, but like Broadway influenced, I guess. But then you get Smooth Sailing, which is just like the super bouncy, like lyrically, again, just really tongue-in-cheek, really funny. I'm in flagranti in every way is one of my favorite Josh Homme lyrics. And then you get what a lot of people consider like the magnum opus of Queens of the Stone Age, like their best song, which is "I Appear Missing." Not in my opinion, like, it's their most epic song for sure. Like
Really?
it is a fantastic, just like it's got like that Western feel, like that dun, 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 like the slide guitar.
That's not the one with the 9-minute runtime.
No. They had the last song on their most recent album, Straight Jacket Fitting. That's about 9 minutes long.
And then
I think I lost a headache.
Okay.
I think I lost my headache that closes Rated R. That's about 9 minutes.
Okay.
But I Appear Missing is a pretty long track, and it's like really, like lyrically, it's basically him like reliving his near-death experience. It's him like note pinned to a hospital gown, and like all these references to I'm dying, like I'm hovering over myself. I appear missing.
They're a gift in terms of track titles.
Oh my God!
I appear.
So good.
So many of them. Like that's keep your eyes peeled, or in so many different ways. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool.
Great
that's
times,
cool. That's
all the way
cool.
through. Again, going back
By
to
the
God is
Ocean.
on the radio.
Yeah.
I sat by. Yeah, you just like throw a dart.
Pretty
at
cool scene in here, man.
You got a killer scene
Killer
there,
scene,
man.
yeah.
They're really good at song titles.
Yeah.
Josh Homme is just really funny, like tongue in cheek, like dry humor kind of guy. But then I Appear Missing is just such this like, it's epic. Like it goes through all these phases, like starts and stops, and you get these like really like big flashes of like just really big like guitars and these big sounds. And then you come off onto the title track. It's like this super somber piano ballad, which is so introspective. Like, all the song title, like the last lyric on the album is one thing that is clear: it's all downhill from here. Like, not exactly the most optimistic, way to end an album, but I mean, again, the dude had just almost died, and this album, you can tell, is him kind of like reflecting with mortality and all he's done as an artist, and like looking back, and like Vampire of Time and Memory, I think, is a very good like MO for the album, just like an underscore of saying like the further we go in this, like the worse it's gonna get, in the sense of like, we're older, we've made more mistakes, and those mistakes weigh on us, and like as happy as like we think like we're growing, we're experiencing things, the Vampire of Time and Memory is not so far behind. Like
right.
one misstep and boom, you're gonna get sucked dry. But I think like, this is their most I already said it, but their most mature album. This is their most varied album. I think this shows the widest range of, like, you have piano ballads, you have Collapsia, which I know you don't love, but it's like very left field from their discography. Yes. You just have a very wide range of music on here, and everything hits, in my opinion. There's just
What did you call? What was the terminology you used for "I Appear Missing"? What label did you give it?
Epic. Their magnum opus.
Magnum opus. What is the name of the tune that is all of side B on Pink Floyd's Metal?
Echoes.
Echoes.
Yeah. That would probably be a magnum opus for them as well.
Do you love that tune?
Echoes? Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, I love every Dark Side or every Pink Floyd album.
Has your relationship with that tune in particular shifted over time?
It's been a while since I listened to Echoes. I remember listening to it a lot in college.
Same.
And I think if I were to go back and listen to it now, I'd still love it. I think that era of Pink Floyd kind of gets a bad rep. It's kind of like after the Sid Barrett era and before they like fully integrated into the prog
stuff. That's one of my favorite.
I love Echoes.
Because no thanks on the Sid Barrett stuff, and it's just not for me.
Fair, yeah.
And I know the stuff that came after, like the Inside of My Eyelids.
Of course, yeah.
So Ummagumma and Adam Hart Mother and I'm like, this is fucking gravy.
Ummagumma, I could take or leave, but Adam Hart Mother and Metal, I think, are just two absolute monster albums.
They are.
But yeah, you get like Adam Hart Mother has the title track at the very beginning, which is like the super long, like 20+ minute, and then you get the same thing on Metal with Echoes at the end. But yeah, it's
like, Ummagumma the one that has several small species of I'm throwing in some love just because
it needs some love.
Right?
It's not going to get it anywhere else. Pink Floyd is my favorite band. I will die on that hill. I know that band, like you said, like the back of my hand. But Pink Floyd has some duds. Pink Floyd, like I could, as the biggest Pink Floyd fan.
Have we already butted heads previously on?
I'm sure
Final
we
Cut?
have. On Final Cut, I'm sure we have. What's your opinion on Final
Fucking
Cut?
Bottom.
It's not at the very bottom for me, but it is it's all the worst parts of the Wall thrown into it.
If you told me you got to go listen to Saucerful and Piper or Final Cut, I'd have to fucking think about it for a little bit.
I mean, for me, I'd obviously go Saucer Full of Secrets and Piper at the Gates of Dawn, but I think the Final Cut does get a bad rep. It is not a great album. It is basically just a Roger Waters solo album in everything but name. But
I'm also including, by the way, in my mental lens of the discography, post-Waters stuff.
Oh, of course.
Momentary
Lapse,
Echo,
Division Bell.
Bell,
Division Bell's a banger. Division Bell's a great fucking album. Momentary Lapse of Reason, not so much. It's got some good songs, but
Side B of Momentary Lapse deserves the same love that Ummagumma.
Sorrow and Dogs of War. It's got some really good songs, but
I know.
But
okay, so
go back to like this epic talk of epicness. This is the most bombastic, most epic Queens of the Stone Age song, and a lot of fans will consider it their masterpiece, like their biggest song. And I, on some senses, I agree with that. I have songs that I personally prefer, but just like the emotion behind this song coming at the climax of their most, emotionally vulnerable and mature album, like it does have a lot of weight to it. And like I said, following that up with Like Clockwork, it's just a dagger through the heart. Like we just went through this trek and you're like hoping for a little bit of like peace and resolution, and you get this really nice piano ballad that's basically telling you, go walk into the ocean, buddy. Like figure it out for yourself. And it's favorite Queens of Stone Age album, top 10, maybe top 5 album period for me. This is a masterpiece in my opinion. I could listen to this front to back till the day I die.
So did Lullabies Paralyze slide to 2?
At the time, yeah. Currently, it's probably at 3 or 4 for me.
Who snuck into that 2 spot?
Probably Songs to the Deaf. Just because, I mean, I've always loved it, but just the more I listen to it, like it is just a masterpiece of a rock album. Just like as far as just like high octane, high adrenaline rock and roll from like the 2000s, it doesn't get better than Songs to the Deaf. I'd probably put Lullabies right behind it at 3. But I think, those are in my, like, you could rotate Songs to the Deaf and Lullabies kind of like flip depending on how I'm feeling. Yeah. There's no flipping with this. This is always number one, always has been, always will be.
So, like I said, we were going every 2 years, every 3 years, and then with 6 year window between Era Vulgaris and like Clockwork, and then 4 between Clockwork and Villains.
They slowed things down with these last 3 albums. Yeah.
9 songs, 48 minutes. Lost Best Rock album Grammy to The War on Drugs, A Deeper Understanding, which
It's a good
I
album.
love that
I like
album.
The War on Drugs. Yeah.
Departure from Mark Lanigan. So Era Vulgaris was the most recent when they hit your radar. Like Clockwork eventually becomes your undisputed favorite. When that happened, was Villains already out?
No.
Okay.
Songs to the Deaf came out. Like I said, it was 2013. I was just graduating high school, getting into college. It was a few years before this album came out, and I was just like, this is the greatest band in the world. They can do no wrong. I am absolutely obsessed with this band. Once we started getting the rollout for Villains, which was 2017, they dropped Feet Don't Fail Me, was I think the first single. And spoiler alert, this is my 8. This is my least favorite Queens of the Stone Age album.
But what I want to know was Clockwork already your 1 when Villains came out?
Yeah, like Clockwork from my first listen was already up there.
You had high
I
expectations.
had really high expectations, and
you gotta lower them.
that was on me. It was probably on me.
Fair.
Like I just said, this is my least favorite. This is not a bad album by any means, but you got Mark Ronson producing. You got the bouncy, the cleanest, crispest songwriting you've ever had. There are some bangers on here. Don't get me wrong. Feet Don't Fail Me, I think, is a really good opener. Domesticated Animals is really fun. Head Like a Haunted House is really fun. Unreborn Again, top tier Queens of the Stone Age song. Fucking love that song. I think Evil Has Landed is quite a bit of fun. I think Villains of Circumstance is a really good closer. Hideaway makes me want to put my head through a wall every time I hear that song. I cannot. That is my least favorite Queens of the Stone Age song. Period.
All right.
And so I hadn't listened to this album in quite a while before we started studying for this discography thing, and I was kind of expecting like I'm still not gonna like it at all. Like it's still gonna. And I will say, I like it more than I remember liking it. Like I thought it was gonna be like just a super clean, super slick, just really sanitary, just no edge to it album, which is kind of what it had become in my mind. And going through, I was surprised and like hopeful as I kept going through, and I was like, oh no, this is actually a lot better than I remember it. But again, there has to be an 8, and this is my 8. Fortress, I think, like he wrote that song for his daughter, if I remember correctly. And
I missed that he had kids.
Yeah, he's got 2 kids, I want to say,
but divorced. I didn't
yes,
catch that.
That's a whole thing.
Okay.
And he wrote Fortress. I want to say, if I remember correctly, Fortress is for his daughter, and it's just it's fine. I don't love the song. I love the outro for it, just like that groove at the very end, when like the last minute or so. I love that, but up until then, I just don't like the hand-holdy, everything's gonna be okay kind of song. Like it's a sweet sentiment, I get that, but I could take it or leave it. And The Way You Used to Do, don't really care for that song either. It is just so clean. It is Mark Ronson. Like that is the most obvious example of Mark Ronson's fingerprints on this album. And because Feet Don't Fail Me sets the tone, like it's going to be a very bouncy, very dancey, very upbeat record, which coming off of like Clockwork, probably much needed because that was a very somber and like morbid album. And then this is just like a celebration of life, essentially. Like you have songs like Fortress where it's like, hey, everything's going to be okay. You would not have gotten that on like Clockwork, which was just very, dark and oppressive. Here you have like Hideaway, which again I don't love at all, but it's a sound you don't really hear much from Queens of the Stone Age. But I think like again, it does have some really high highs, like Unreborn Again. I said Evil Has Landed are 2 really good. Like Unreborn Again, I just keep going back to it. I fucking love that song. But that one song is not enough to save this from being the 8th best Queens of the Stone Age album, which in my opinion it is.
In the department of let's not make notes just to make notes, I had no notes for this album.
Yeah.
And I go, you're probably just drifting from the project. Like, you're looking forward to, for lack of a better phrase, I'm looking forward to getting done with it so that I can then fill in all the rest of the pieces of this. So I go, I hope that's not going to taint my vision for End Times New Roman, which I knew it wasn't going to, because even though it has nothing to do with the font that is my favorite font, like if I am on a new platform and I'm writing on it and you don't have time, I'm like, what a piece of shit.
What's the point? Yeah.
But
let's get this Helvetica crap out of my
2023, 10 tracks, 47 minutes. Hommy's home studio plus Rick Rubin's Shangri-La studio. I didn't recall multiple studios.
How terrible that cover is. Holy shit.
I didn't recall multiple studios on other records, but let's see here. I dug the muted fret, low tone pickwork in Negative Space. Made to Parade has got a cool personality to it. And started to really get some Bowie sounding vocal tendencies late in the record. Okay. And again, I'm going, are you just...
he's very influenced by Bowie, vocally especially. He's got like those soaring highs and just like the really powerful like chest voice.
Yeah.
And it's only got like the fact that he's been doing this for 30 years now and he still sounds this good. Like, goddamn, dude, especially with all the drugs he's consumed.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was I remember the singles coming out for this album before it came out, and I was like, okay, this is fun. I could vibe with this. And my biggest, like going back and listening to this album over the past few days, like the past week or so, this is like if you took everything from Lullabies up to Villains and just like threw it in a blender and just like took it down to like its distillate, just removed all the little frills and edges, you would get In Times New Roman.
Okay.
It's got the more somber, like moody parts from Lullabies and from like Clockwork. It's got like the dancier, more upbeat stuff from Villains. It's got the weirder, like electronic, more influenced stuff from Era Vulgaris. And I think it does it all pretty well. This is probably, again, towards my lower tier of Queen's albums as a whole, but there are no bad Queen's albums. This is just another addition to their very fun, very eclectic discography. Like you said, Negative Space, really fun song. Honestly, Obscenery, don't love it very much. One of my least favorite Queen's openers. I don't think it does a very good job of setting the tone. As soon as you get the Paper Machete, you're like, okay, this is fun. Now I'm rocking it. Negative Space is another really fun one. Time and Place, that's your horny song for the album. Made to Parade, like you said, it's got a really good personality. And that outro, my God, one of my favorite outros in any Queen song. I was listening to it, and it made me think of, I don't know if you're super familiar with Genesis, like Peter Gabriel era Genesis.
Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
But Supper's Ready from Foxtrot, like the very end of that song, like you just went through 20 plus minutes of insanity, and you get to these like super, like really like euphoric like guitar harmonies, like soaring over everything. And that guitar tone specifically, and just like that really open sound, reminds me a lot of, or like the end of Made to Parade reminds me a lot of that.
If the idea of dipping your toes in the water is like an actual measuring stick for how far you've gotten into something, how far have you gotten into Peter Gabriel Genesis?
Oh, I've listened to it all. I love Peter Gabriel.
Like, you know it well.
Oh yeah.
5, 6 records.
They had that From Genesis to Revelation was their first album. That piece of crap. From that, they went into Trespass, which is really good. They got Nursery Crime, which was kind of getting there. Foxtrot, phenomenal. Foxtrot was the first, like, we're here to stay. We are Prague. Yeah. We are Prague Titans.
Yeah.
Then you get Foxtrot into Selling England by the Pound, into Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. That triple run is just peak Prague. Okay. I share a birthday with Peter Gabriel. He is like, as soon as I found that out, I was like, I need to know everything about this man. I love all his solo stuff. I love his, like, he is the better Genesis frontman, in my opinion. Nothing against Phil Collins, but Genesis really lost its edge when he took over.
Because you mention him, I feel like there's a divided front. Either love the shit out of Phil Collins or you hate him. Are you on one side or the other?
If I had to fall on one side or the other, I would honestly fall more towards the hate him side. He's a great musician, fantastic songwriter. I'm not talking
Genesis.
No. His solo stuff. It's not my favorite sound of the 80s. He does have some bangers, obviously.
Ding,
in the air tonight.
Ding.
Yeah. I like that song. Another Day in Paradise. It's so cheesy. It's just so corny.
But
and
so was the world back then.
I mean, yeah, I get it. And again, nothing against Phil Collins. It's just, in my opinion, Genesis is the Peter Gabriel Genesis.
Fair.
And you still get a little of that after, you still get some of that prog leanings after Peter leaves, and you get Wind and Wuthering, you get A Trick of the Tail, you get Duke, which are all really good albums. But then after that, it kind of, once Phil really starts taking over, after Steve Hackett leaves and all that, then you're like, okay, we're kind of getting, like, the songwriting is great. It's just the production, like the super gated reverb and like the booming vocals, like, yeah, whatever. But
the only Phil song that ever really bothered me was
Studio.
Fucking, what are we doing here?
I don't like that. I don't like Invisible Touch. I don't like. But then, like, I love I Can't Dance. Like that's a banger. I love I Can't Dance. All right,
I don't know.
It's fun. It's a fun song. Like that. If he just leaned into like that super hokey. Like there are some really good Genesis songs from that era. Like Tonight's a banger. Land of Confusion is a banger. But
video too.
Fantastic video, but yeah, not the world's biggest Phil Collins fan.
Which is weird because, like, in the weird, holy shit, burned onto the brain videos, it's Tool sober,
very similar to the claymation type of
Land of Confusion, and then fucking Peter Gabriel shit,
Sledgehammer,
and
Steam, and all those songs.
Yeah.
Fucking love Peter Gabriel, man. And just like he's fantastic. But going back to, like, I do think that, like, I don't think he borrowed it. Like, I don't think it's close enough to the end of Supper's Ready, like, to have directly borrowed from it. But I think it's, like, that sound is just very reminiscent of, like, that super soaring, euphoric sound that Genesis nailed back then. Made to Parade, like we just talked about, that's the one we're just talking about. Got a good personality. Carnivore, I think it's a lot of fun. I do not like What the People Say. That is one of my least favorite Queen songs ever. Just like the chorus is so, like, you get those, like, the background vocals. Now we're gonna break all the rules. Like, you're not edgy, man. Like, I've heard you be edgy. You can be edgy. I heard Songs for the Deaf. I heard Rated R. We can do this.
I've seen you be the poster boy.
We can do this without resorting to saying, like, we're breaking all the rules. I don't like that at all. But then Sicily is I love Sicily. It's so dark,
nice.
So haunting.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's also a little calming.
It is, yeah. And that is a very Bowie-esque sound on that song, in my opinion. And then Emotion Sickness, that was another single going into the album that I thought was fine. It was very fun.
I wondered if there wasn't a little tiny, is it Emotional Rescue, Stones?
Yeah. A little bit of bleeding into it, yeah. A little bit of influence there. I mean, there's definitely a lot of Stones influence throughout. Like, Mick Jagger as a personality definitely influenced Josh Homme and just the way he carries himself as a rock musician. Just like that super, larger than life, ladies man. Like, I'm a rocker, but I'm good in the sack as well. And then Straight Jacket Fitting, phenomenal closer. I think the chorus on this is one of my favorite choruses that Josh Homme's ever come up with. And that super, like, you get that weird part in the middle where, like, goes into, like, there's some strings going on. I can't remember the lyric that he keeps repeating over that, but I was like, okay, let's get back to the main song. Then once it gets back to the main song, I'm like, all right, yeah, let's close this out. And then it finishes, and then you get that, like, really interesting, like, orchestral outro, like, that just, like, hovers over the last, like, minute or two of the song, which I think is a really nice, just closing touch. if this ends up being the final Queens of Stone Age album, which I don't think it'll be.
Okay, that was my next question.
I think that would be a fine send-off. Like I said, this is like a very good, like, just grab bag of all the sounds they've been working on for the past, like, 20 years going into this album. But I'm of the opinion that if they wanted to put it, I think they still have another really good album in them. Like, if they really honed in, they could put out another fucking, maybe not another, like, Songs to the Deaf or, like, Clockwork level album, but they could definitely put out something of this quality or higher.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw them live, right after this album came out, for the most recent time I saw them, dudes were rocking it. Like, holy shit. They were, again, these guys have been doing it for, or Josh Homme at least, has been doing it for like 30 years. He's still up there kicking stuff over. He's getting into, like, he's telling the crowd, this was at Starlight, he's telling people to get it off their seats, to walk. He's like, just fuck your seats, just everyone come up to the front. And then security's like, please don't do that. And he's like, fuck security, I don't care what happens. And I was like, calm down, Josh.
Wow.
Let's not get that crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just fun. Like, again, dude is just a rocker. Like, that is, like, through and through, he is, like, the definition of a rock star. And again, like, there are no bad Queens albums. There are no terrible Queens songs. A few songs that I could definitely go without ever hearing again. But it's just one of the strongest discographies in rock. One of the biggest, one of the most identifiable sounds in rock. Just like that they have a very distinct tone, very distinct just air about them. And yeah, there's nothing, I can find no wrong with this band. They are just phenomenal.
So we go 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 2 years, and then 6 years.
Let some gaps.
4 years, and now we've gone 6 years again. But it's been 3 since this one came out. So I mean, one would think
they had that. They did that Catacombs show last year, 2 years ago. They did a little concert in the Catacombs under Paris, and that was killer, just absolutely insane. And again, they're busy guys. We didn't talk about it earlier, but them Crooked Vultures, fucking one of the biggest. Like, they put out one album, they're like, we're good. You're never gonna hear from us again. Like, what the hell? You can't drop that absolute banger of an album. I mean, it's Josh Homme, Dave Grohl, and then John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin. Like,
really?
That is, he is the third member.
I'd forgotten that. Wow,
that album absolutely rips. It's just like a really sleek, like it's a Led Zeppelin, like a Josh Homme riffing off like a Led Zeppelin type album, just like that super bluesy, rocky sound that Zeppelin was known for. And like, I would kill for another Them Crooked Vultures album.
JPJ's always been my MVP.
He's incredible. He was the core that get, like, obviously Jimmy Page was Jimmy Page, Robert Plant is Robert Plant, but John Paul Jones is like the artistic, like, he's the one that kept them like, no, we can be, like, without John Paul Jones, you wouldn't have gotten Kashmir, you wouldn't have gotten like Fool in the Rain, like all the more like out there, like eccentric songs.
What is it? What's the tune from Physical Graffiti that? So it sounds like a bagpipe. It's such a synthy. And if you feel,
oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of the song.
And then Down by the Seaside.
Down by the Seaside's great. Jamaica, which not one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs, but that's.
How about fucking the solo to All My Love?
All of My Love.
But
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah, he was insane. But yeah, he was a huge piece of Them Crooked Vultures, and I don't see them doing another album, but just like, that's another thing. Like, just like everything associated with Queens of the Stone Age is so good. Like, Them Crooked Vultures was just a little one-off offshoot. Fantastic. All their bonus tracks, they couldn't make it onto the album. Fantastic. We didn't talk about some of them, but like Rated R has Born to Hula. Fantastic song. Definitely check that one out. What's it called? Lullabies to Paralyze has Infinity. Fantastic song. Like, there's just so much creativity. There's so much good music coming out of these guys. Like, they just can't contain it. You have all their side bands. Like, after Nick Oliveri left, he did a bunch of great side work. It's just, yeah, everyone associated with Queens of the Stone Age is just so talented. Little crazy at times, obviously, but just they're a band that, like I said earlier, everyone can find something to like in Queens of the Stone Age. You like the super heavy stuff, go listen to Rated R and Songs to the Deaf. You like the more bouncy, like listenable stuff, go listen to Villains or Era Vulgaris. Or if you like really heady, like emotional think pieces, you've got like Clockwork, you've got Lullabies to Paralyze. Like, they're such a diverse band while never sacrificing that sound that makes them Queens of the Stone Age, and like that integral just desert rock, stoner rock mentality. And I love them forever.
Right on. Are you good to power through your 5 questions and finish it up?
Let's do it.
Okay. So talking about this, are we, the street interview people, are we getting dumber, or is it a lot of staged shit? For the last handful of months, not often, but often enough to wiggle my radar, I would see people post shit saying, don't come to Kansas City for the World Cup. It's going to be a disaster. We're not going to be ready. All of this other shit is, hotel, everything's fucked up. The city's not organized. I don't know if that's real. I don't know how much one could successfully prepare for such an influx. But the World Cup in Kansas City will more or less be remembered as what?
Busy. I think it will be. I don't know that it'll be like backbreakingly, like, going to collapse our infrastructure and all that. Like, I think as we got closer and closer to the World Cup, it became clear that we were going to be able to handle it better than we thought we would. Because I was on that train a few months ago, or like midway through last year, where I was like, we are going to be getting, like, I don't think people realize how big the World Cup is.
What were the 1 or 2 things that were making you feel?
So my dad works for Pinnacle still for like staffing, and he was like,
I thought he posted something saying a handful of months back, I'm looking for.
I think he was still, I don't think anything materialized from that. I think
okay.
he's just like, I'm going to ride out my career here and just retire at the end of the year, next year or whatever. But he was talking about how like all these hotels are reaching out to him, like, we need people, like we need thousands and thousands of workers to satisfy like the influx that we're expecting. And hearing all that and just knowing how rabid World Cup fans are and soccer fans in general. I don't know if you saw recently there was a Champions League final between PSG and Arsenal. PSG won the Champions League. Paris basically burned down. Like, the riots in Paris were insane. And their team won. Like, after PSG won the Champions League, Paris was on fire. And that's, like, French are known for being rowdy, but they're not even, like, the top 5 rowdiest, like, soccer fans. The fact that we're getting England here, like, the hooligans are coming to Kansas City, that is, like, massive. And I think after it's all said and done, like, I have become less of a negative Nancy over it. I do think we're going to handle it better than I previously thought. I do still think this next month and a half is going to be, like, for the service industry, for like the transportation industry, this next month and a half is going to really test the limits of how good you think you are.
No hesitation for you to say busy. If it's remembered as busy, that's not a failure.
Oh, absolutely not a failure. No,
almost
I think as far as the host cities in the U.S., I think Kansas City is one of the bigger, like, soccer spirit cities. Like, it's still not nearly to the level of like these international like powerhouses of soccer, but in the U.S., Kansas City has strongly become like the KC Current is like, we're a very big fan base for the Current. Like, we love the Current here. Yeah. We love Sporting KC. Yeah. We love like all these like homegrown soccer teams, and I think that's gonna show. I think the fans are gonna come in and see like, oh, these people. Like, they're not us. They're not like, they don't love soccer like we do. They don't bleed soccer day in day out. But this is somewhere where like I can feel at home. Like, I can talk to people about soccer. Feel like this is like, the vibe isn't just we're turning this into a tourist trap for people from around the world. We're actually like, we care about the soccer that we're experiencing here.
Okay, so Badass Records Productions is given limitless funds to throw the epic Sammy Sanchez birthday bash. You get to pick 3 artists. It's a music festival setting vibe.
Okay.
The bill is 3.
Okay.
Who are you putting up there?
Current, like, no dead people.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay.
I mean, unless you really gotta.
I want the Beatles reunion. No. But no. I might put Queens of the Stone Age in that 3. Just again, they're one of those bands that zero, like, you could play any of their songs and I will be into it. With a few exceptions. I don't think they would play those songs live anyway. But Queens of Stone Age would be on there. They'd probably be the closer, honestly. They'd be the headliner. I'd put LCD Sound System probably as the opener. And then maybe Gorillaz would be a fun middle. Maybe 9 Inch Nails would be a fun middle.
A party, regardless.
Yeah, I want some party, yeah. I want LCD Sound System to, like, really set the vibe, you know. Gorillaz really just like to keep that energy going. And then Queens of the Stone Age comes in and just melts your face off at the end. I think that would be a good triple powerhouse.
In case you've forgotten, February 13th is Mr. Sanchez's birthday, and you can, I don't know, get him a gift on. You can
buy me a shot.
There you go.
Come to trivia.
On your last appearance, when we did King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, one of the questions was about this history, social studies textbook, choose 3 events for the next upcoming edition. And you had a really fascinating answer about deeming corporations.
Citizens United.
Can you educate me on
yeah, absolutely.
I understood what you said at the time, but it was just a surface scratch right to a very important topic that I've asked other folks that have come back. I've asked other folks that question. Nobody's even come close to the zip code of that, which is remarkable and speaks to the intelligence level of a trivia host that has been on Jeopardy.
I appreciate that. Corporations are ruining America. I mean, not to get into, like, the super, leftist ideology, but capitalism is a scourge. We are reaching the logical conclusion of what capitalism is. It started off, all this competition is great and the free market and all that, and we are getting to the point where corporations are the trendsetters. Like, they are the ones making the laws. Like, Trump just had a visit to China. He didn't take his cabinet. He took CEOs of NVIDIA. He took the CEO of Apple. He took the CEO. Like, this is where we're at. And
Citizens
United was a court
piece
case.
Of legislation. Okay,
it was a Supreme Court case. I want to say like 2007, 2008, which basically said, like, I'm not a political theorist. I'm not, like, super, like, learned on political discourse. I've done my reading. I've done my research. Citizens United might be the single most detrimental Supreme Court decision of the past 50 years, definitely, of all time, possibly.
And it did what exactly?
It basically said that we can't... corporations are protected under the same laws that private citizens are. Corporations can fund political candidates as much as they want. PACs are fine. Super PACs are fine. Basically, corporations are people. Corporations should be viewed as,
that was my takeaway. Yeah,
individual entities that are protected under the same laws, under the same statutes that people are. Which I think is just a very, very gross, like, everything that's come from Citizens United has got us to where we are now.
It's a gross name, too, because that's not... If you gave me a canvas and a paintbrush and a palette, paint Citizens United.
No, you're not going to get corporations. Yeah.
You got to retake this class, too.
I think that, I am a leftist, obviously. That has not become very clear from my repeated ramblings on your podcast. But I truly believe that if there is a way forward for America as a modern, like, superpower, it's good. We're collapsing. Like, this, we are to quote who was it, John Keats, the center will not hold. We are collapsing real fast. and all this accelerationism and all this bullshit that basically stemmed from Citizens United is to blame. You have these people like Peter Thiel, you have these oligarchs, these technocrats that they have the funds to just impose their will on society. They are the ones saying, like, you know what? We don't need national parks. We don't need democracy, really. Democracy is an outdated form of government, and we are supposed to move past it to an era where consumerism and like industrialization is all that matters. Like, you should be working till 80. You should be working 60 hours a week. You should be this and that and the other, because it's all about efficiency. It's all about how much value can I provide? And then you lose funding for the arts. You gut the Department of Education. You do this, that, and the other. And next thing you know, you have the 15-second TikTok trend, and you have everyone unable to see outside of this tiny little echo chamber that they've created around themselves of 15-second snippets of all this bullcrap. And yeah, it's a very dark timeline we live in, and it's not going to be an easy way out. But if there is a way out, it's going to have to be through, and it's going to have to be through dismantling a lot of things that people are not going to be comfortable with dismantling. Because right now, like, it's to the point right now where people, like day-to-day citizens like you and me, it isn't fully affecting us yet.
But it's coming.
It's coming. It's coming down the pipeline. I think we're maybe by the end of this presidential term, which I hate thinking about that we still have so long in it. By the end of this presidential term, we are going to have a reckoning, I believe.
Weirdly, we are feeling it at the pump and at the grocery store.
That's the thing.
Which,
in that sense, our wallets are feeling it.
In campaigning, he said gas and grocery, and I go, you dummy. Everyone knows the president doesn't determine gas prices and grocery prices.
They can start pointless wars, and that'll definitely
And then they went the other direction. I was like, fuck, maybe they do. Yep. And what happened to the thing you said?
Yep.
You were blaming it all on fucking... Anyway.
To this day, they're still blaming Biden and Obama and stuff. Like, Obama hasn't been in office for 10 years, dude. Like, you got to let it go. Every time you bring up Obama, it's a dog whistle for, I hate that we had a black man as president.
Yeah.
Which, Obama was not a great president. Don't get me wrong. Very easy to criticize Obama. But compared to what we currently have, I'll take Obama 8 days a week.
He wasn't the final cut.
Obama was more of the... He was more of the, let's say, the obscured by clouds of the...
It's a great record.
Of the discography, yeah.
What record are you associating with Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter... Probably Adam Hart Mother, honestly.
I like it.
Songs like Fat Old Son, very pastoral, very down to earth.
I love Fat Old Son.
Fantastic song.
I feel like maybe us doing this discography thing might have gotten kicked around in your first episode in Talking Animals and discovering that you're a Floyd fan. At some point, we're going to have to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I could talk Floyd for years.
Quentin Tarantino's body of work.
Yeah.
You know most of them?
He's one of my favorite directors, yeah.
He's quote-unquote done. He made the movies he was going to make.
I keep hearing there's one more on the way,
right,
but he's been saying that for years.
Right.
And I don't know if it'll happen.
So let's say the one more happens, and then for real this time, there's one more after that.
The big finale, yeah.
He's going to do what he does as a director or producer or whatever, but he's giving you the topic.
Jesus.
He's going to make the movie the way he makes movies, but you get to pick, Inglourious Bastards killing Nazis and cousin,
right,
businesses are booming. Pulp Fiction, drugs and Marcel.
Noir detective,
Reservoir Dogs, the jewel
crime heist.
So you get the topic. What's it going to be?
I think I would love to see Tarantino tackle a sci-fi. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think just so obviously Tarantino as a person, a lot of problems with Tarantino as a person. As a director, I think he just has a very distinct voice and way of like bringing in all these cultural influences and like being able to like view history through like this weird like kaleidoscopic lens, like Inglourious Bastards, which obviously in real life Hitler wasn't. No, he didn't die by getting his face blown off by a machine gun for like 10 minutes straight. Who wants
to send a message to Germany?
In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Manson murders didn't end exactly how they did in the movie. Like, he's got a very interesting way of like taking real life events and saying like, what actually happened isn't so important. It's like how we feel about what happened, how like those events kind of like affected pop culture and like mass consciousness and whatnot. So seeing him tackle something like completely disconnected from reality, I think that would be really fun.
The scope of sci-fi is
exactly
huge. For whatever reason, the first image that came to mind when you said that was Mars Attacks, which bothered the shit out of me. As
him
a movie.
Doing like something like a time travel something, I think would be fun. Being able to visit different points throughout history and like seeing his take on all that. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe not like hard sci-fi like Arrival or like something like super heady, but just like a fun like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or something like that. Okay. Like his take on that, I think would be a lot of fun.
Last but not least, UMKC reaches out to you and says, we want you to teach a grad level literature course. Okay. And here's the whole scope of the class. Your students are going to read 5 books, and they're going to write a paper on each book. That's the whole class. What are your 5?
So it's got to be a pretty wide range to cover. I mean, if you're only getting 5 books, I mean, you got to have Faulkner in there. I'm going to put As I Lay Dying in there.
Okay.
As I Lay Dying is my favorite of his books. I think like Sound of the Fury is more like a technical achievement or whatever, but I think as far as like his voice, that like Southern Gothic like style of writing, that like modern it was getting into modernist. It was not quite modernist, but that like the stream of consciousness, like the differing character voices and all that stuff. I think that would be huge. That probably wouldn't be the first book we start with. First book, I mean, my heart says Moby Dick. I think that's just I think that is.
They call me Ishmael.
Call me. It's like the most iconic opening line ever. I think Moby Dick really is the closest that the U.S. has gotten to like a masterpiece of like literature.
How many times have you gotten through it?
Moby Dick twice.
How many times have you tried?
Many times.
That's the correct answer.
The second time I tried, I was able to more or less just like power through it. The first time, it took me like a year plus to read it. There's a lot of books like Infinite Jest. It took me forever to read that book. A lot of Thomas Pynchon, just because he's so dense. Dude. Like Pynchon's one, like he's right up there with Faulkner for me in terms of just like how much I enjoy his works. But yeah, you gotta trust, like, because every single chapter, you're like, okay, now I gotta go do like hours of research to understand what the hell he's talking about. Like Gravity's Rainbow.
Thomas, I'm trying not to have my phone in my hand. What are you doing, dude?
It's the opposite. You're driving me crazy here, man. But no, I'd put Moby Dick. I'd put. I mean, Ulysses has to go on there.
God damn, dude, really?
I mean, Ulysses is widely regarded as the greatest English language novel, and I don't fully agree with that. But in terms of just like showing what the English language is capable of, like, holy shit, James Joyce was on another level.
Have you read Finnegan's Wake?
I have. Okay. Weird. I don't love it nearly as much as I love Ulysses. Okay. I do like James Joyce. I don't love him like a lot of Joyce fans do. I love Ulysses. I like Dubliners.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of Portraits of the Artist as a Young Man. I think it's really
boring.
Pretentious.
Oh, okay.
But Ulysses has to be on there. Moby Dick has to be on there. I'd put As I Lay Dying on there. Moving forward a little bit, this might be crazy, but I'd put The Hobbit. I think Tolkien is like his world building.
Sure, class, dude. There's nothing crazy about it.
Just like his use of linguistics, like obviously he's a linguist by profession, so creating these languages, creating these stories, and like this huge world, and being able to turn it into a story of like heroism and this huge like anti-industrial, like we should just like love nature. We should just stick like we've made it this far as a species just fine. Like industrialization is important, it's going to advance us, but we shouldn't make everything. We shouldn't turn away our backs to nature,
Right,
and like
right.
our like our
We've made it this
modest
far as a
beginnings.
species just fine, asterisk, footnote, until 2016.
Until we've that kind of like started
whatever.
that
Yeah,
downturn
yeah.
of society. But I think that would be another good one. And then, man, there's just so much. Like, I mean, I feel bad not including like some of the Bronte, like Jane Eyre, or
Oh,
like
wow.
some
You gotta put us to sleep.
some I fucking love Jane Eyre and like Wuthering Heights,
Yeah.
and I love maybe some Toni Morrison should be on there.
All right.
I don't know. This is crazy. Okay. Moby Dick, Ulysses, As I Lay Dying, The Hobbit, and I'm gonna say Gravity's Rainbow. I think Tom.
Oh, wow.
I think
Okay.
Pynchon should
All
be
right,
on there.
all right.
The postmodernist, the just super reference heavy, super like. I'm gonna write about a lot of shit, and if you don't know about it, you're not gonna have a good time about it. And
As the chair of the English department at UMKC, we love your list. We're not going to invite you back for semester 2 because there's no Hunter S. Thompson, there's no Vonnegut, there's no.
that's the thing. They're still like narrowing it down to 5 is crazy. Vonnegut should absolutely be on there.
I'm just teasing.
Like Steinbeck,
Yeah.
East of Eden should
Ooh.
absolutely be on there. Frankenstein.
Oh, my.
I mean,
Okay.
Frankenstein was the first book that I like fell in love with. Like I read Frankenstein freshman year of high school, and I was just like, holy shit.
I didn't read it till college.
Because in my mind, I was like, okay, yeah, it's the monster.
movie,
like I've
it's
seen
not
what
bad
is it
at all.
No, like he's well
could see how they
spoken.
got there.
He's human, like not human, but he's got a lot of humanity to him. And then like obviously when the movie got made, Boris Karloff was like, he was the one that was like, I don't want to speak. Like I want it to be like these like grunts and like this like lumbering monster, and then that became the image that everyone associates with the monster. Like I don't know if you saw the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein from last year. I don't think it's that great, but I do think their representation of the monster is the best in any Frankenstein movie I've seen, because he has like passions. He's like, he goes after his master, and he's like, no, this guy fucked me up. Like, let me tell my side of the story if you want to hear some shit.
Wow.
And I think that he did a very good job of that. But love Frankenstein. I love sci-fi in general. Like Kurt Vonnegut is fantastic. Isaac Asimov, I love his stuff. Yeah, it's just impossible to narrow it down to 5, and that's just fiction. Like you get a nonfiction, you get like.
I'm glad you didn't put it.
No, I mean no. If literature is fiction, like there is good literature that's nonfiction, but you gotta. If you're just talking about like the greats, it's gotta be the writers
That's a great
of fiction.
list.
Yeah.
So in the.
Ooh, sorry, one more.
Yes.
100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. That is obviously not an English language book, but that is the most heartwarming. I mean, it's a pretty sad book, but it is the best depiction of like magical realism. Just like it's a world where like people go about their lives like normal, but also some people can do some weird shit with magic. And I think it's like it's so perfect at like we're not focusing that much on the magic. Like, hey, it happens. We're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Here's how these people in this world operate under that assumption. And then like the Buendia family is like some of the greatest like characters in literature, and that's another. If I were to be invited by UMKC, I'd argue with them until they let me do 10 books instead of 5. That would be mine.
In a semester. You know these kids are taking full course loads, right?
Fuck them. Fuck those kids.
Okay. In the Citizens United leads us down this path of the stripping away of education and 15-second TikToks. You keep coming back and doing this.
So much fun. Hell yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say, why? I mean, I'm very grateful that you do, and I always enjoy our chats. But I'm also, 187 to 213 isn't the hugest gap. I walk away with the mindset of I'll leave Sammy alone for a while. But you were like, let's do another one soon. And I was like,
fun, yeah. I saw. This is fun. I love talking. Maybe I just love the sound of my own voice. I don't know, but I love talking music. I love I don't have very many friends. Like I have some friends that are like super music heads, but not that many. So it's fun to come on here and like be able to just like talk music for a few hours and like how that relates to non-music things. But yeah, it's always fun to just sit down and chat, especially when it's under the guise of talking about one of my favorite bands ever.
So at Sammy Sanchez 1123 on Instagram, in the bio you can see the trivia schedule, which has gone from 1 night a week to 5 nights a week, all different locations in the fucking blink of an eye.
Yep.
Kudos to you.
Hoping to keep growing. Yeah.
Very fun. Any other plugs?
Not right now. That's basically all I've been doing. Just hosting trivia. If you want me to host trivia for you, say the word. I'll gladly do it. I do bartending gigs here and there. If you need me to set up a shuffleboard league for you, I'll do it. If you're in any way affiliated with Jim's Alley Bar or King G, don't talk to me. But besides that, yeah, I just do all sorts of fun things around town that make me happy and make me money. So keep that going. Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you, man. It was definitely. I'm glad we went with the Quatza or the Kotza or whatever. The Kotza. Appreciate that. Appreciate the time, and thanks, man.
Oh yeah.
Talk to you soon.